Are we back? Are we doing anything? Is this actually working now? I genuinely could not tell you. I really hope so. It looks like I have a steady stream. Yeah, genuinely don't know what the hell just happened there. That's what I was trying to say at the beginning, is that I hit play, things wouldn't play, my OBS, the audio wouldn't monitor through here, so I couldn't hear my theme song, so I didn't know if the intro was playing. I went to YouTube, it wouldn't load the YouTube video right, so I couldn't hear what was going on. Literally have no idea what's going on. I think, yeah, Andrew, you might be right. It might be the Arizona heat frying my internet. Either way, it's super annoying, and it is something I didn't need to deal with today. So, all right, good. Seem good now so far. With that said, hello everyone. Welcome back to another Friday, another episode of The Good, the Mad, the Ugly, here with me, your host, Mav Spencer, editor of Bounding Into Comics, whatever you want to call me. I am glad to see you guys here, even if the last 30 minutes or so have been the culmination of everything stressful in my job or life up to this point, right? Or okay, that's an exaggeration. But you guys heard so I had that tech problem, but right before I had that tech problem, I was on Bounding and I was trying to edit a couple articles. I was trying to get something out before we went live. I'm probably going to finish up editing it right here just because I need to get it out for our readers to have. But upon going to the site to grab related links to throw into the article, I found out, whether through human error or through absolute dumbness on the side of the people who the owners of BIC, a crap ton of our articles got unpublished. They didn't get deleted, they just got unpublished. So now I have to go back, I have to make sure what needs to be published, what doesn't need to be published, and I'm just all around sort of pissy about it, because it's already hard enough doing this job and thankless doing this job, and now I have to go back and do a bunch of this stupid crap for nothing, and it makes me mad. And as soon as I hit publish here, we can go on and talk about literally anything else. Yes, Andrew, F that. And I mean, I'm not even talking one or two things are missing. I'm talking dozens of articles from across the years of really important things. For example, the coverage that I was looking for that made me realize that all of our stuff had been moved was in July. We got the first trailer for the Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster, and in that trailer we found out that they race swapped or changed the appearance of one of the psychopath bosses, Larry Chang, and I needed that article for a related link in one that Ryan just wrote about more censorship in Dead Rising, and it was gone. And so that's gone. A bunch of our Vivian coverage about Paper Mario Thousand Year Door is gone. A couple of our stories about characters being race swapped here or there are gone. Again, it's not malice. I don't think anybody is sabotaging. I don't think anybody up top is saying, oh, we can't run these stories anymore. Because again, they ran the gamut of topics from culture war stuff to just regular announcements. So I legitimately don't know what's up with it. It's just a really frustrating thing that I am going to have to tackle in a little bit, because it's just it's so I don't even know what to say. It just makes me really, really angry all the time to have to go back and do this. Whatever. There's my night. How's your night going, guys? I hope everybody is having a much better night than I clearly am with this garbage. I'm excited to be here, though, to talk to you guys. It is Friday. We have stuff to talk about. Surprisingly, a kind of quiet week this week. I'm genuinely surprised. I guess most people are still basking in the glow of Deadpool and Wolverine. So tonight will probably, the main topics I know that I want to hit are, we have a bunch of new comics that we got to read through. We got to talk about some Absolute Power, some Uncanny X-Men, all that sort of fun stuff. That's sort of the only real big topic I have to talk about tonight. If there's anything, as always, if there's anything you guys want to talk about, drop it in the chat, send me a message, whatever. I'm here to hang out with you. It's just been, a bit of a slow week, outside of the news of Suicide Squad being just a massive, massive, massive continual failure for Warner Brothers. Yeah, it's been sort of a little slow. So, we'll talk, we'll hang out, but we'll see what topics pop up, right? So with that all said, with that out of the way, I'm gonna go to the chat. I'm gonna say hello to all of you folks who are out there with us already, and let's kick it off. Starting with Andrew. Yes, correct. Gay indeed. This is the gayest stream on YouTube, but I am glad you're here. It continues to be gay even long after Pride Month. That is how dedicated we are here at this show. Timon, what is going on? Saying Black Cat is now a lesser copy of Catwoman. Yes, we will be talking about that. We did get the new reveal of the Ultimate Black Cat, and I have some thoughts on it, so we will definitely get into that. That'll be part of our comic book talk. We also have Corey. What is up? Hey, I feel like I haven't seen Corey in a long time. And yes, I know I'm late and not playing Xenoblade. And I know if I have time to stream, I have time to play Xenoblade. This is really the only time in a week that I have to do anything sort of fun, are like these 2 hours here. And even then, I'm technically cutting into my bounding work schedule. So I'm playing a little fast and loose. What am I trying to say here? There's some scheduling stuff we need to talk about at the end of tonight's show. So when we get there, I will talk more about schedules and streams and everything that I want to keep doing there. Just heads up for way later in the show if you are interested at all in that topic. Let's see. We also have Zero Dozer. What is up? I is here. What I is here. What? Always a pleasure to have you on board, mi amigo. I haven't seen you streaming. I've been meaning to ask you, why haven't you been streaming? I know you were streaming Halo a little bit ago. I haven't seen you start Halo 2. Come on, that's the best one. Well, after Reach, but you're not even close to getting to Reach. We have Shinkai waving. What is up, Shinkai? How is it going? Let's see. I'm happy to see you, Shinkai. Yeah, we had Andrew talking to me about everything going wrong with my internet. Andrew and Corey let me know I was here. Andrew says, F that. I appreciate you and the work you do, bro. Sounds like we need to put boots to asses. Hey, thank you, man. I know that does really mean a lot coming from you. It really is just, I gotta go in and I just gotta do it. It's one of those things that it's not necessarily hard or difficult. It's just tedious. Right? Like I just gotta I'm gonna have to sit here for like 2 hours listening to something, edit, click, edit, click, edit, click, okay, click. Because I don't need to edit anything. They're all done. Like I've done this all before. I just have to hit the publish button, but it just means manually going in. It's all stupid. It's all Web 2.0 garbage that maybe one person in this chat is going to be interested in hearing. Shinkai says, quiet week except for all those anime leaks. Like that's been going crazy. Yes, okay, we should definitely talk about that as soon as we get through here, Shinkai. As soon as we say hi to everybody, let's talk about those anime leaks because they are absolutely nutso. All right. Yes. Thank you for that, my man. Andrew says, ha, ha, ha. I have a stack of like 10 books to read. Fake laughter hiding real pain. No, I mean, you and I talked about this, I think like a little bit last week, and we've talked about it over over this week actually in like DMs. Like you and I normally we're around in Discord or on Twitter to shoot the shit about something or to talk about whatever development. You and I have been relatively quiet lately because we've just been so slammed. I can't even imagine what's going on for you over there with like the Rippaverse stuff, especially with and I hope I say this right. Again, this is one of those words I've only ever seen written and never said out loud, but goodieing. I know you guys just launched that, so I know that is probably taking up a lot of your time. Oh, cool note, Andrew. And I've been meaning to share this with you, and I want to share it with everybody here now that we're live. So every week when new comic books come out, I go to a site called Previews World. I mean, again, that's not a secret. That's not a hidden site. Everybody knows what Previews World is. It's like the main distributor website, right? It's essentially the catalog where retailers will go to see what's coming and order up for their stores. And of course, it's open to the public, so everybody can go see it, blah, blah, blah. But that's what I use weekly to see what new releases are coming down the pipe. And this week I was on the site and I was going through, and it was really cool because, you know, you had your Marvels, you had your IDW, you had your DC, you had your Booms, you had your Ahoy comics, you had all this, and then you had in their release list, you had goodieing or good-eyeing, whatever. And unfortunately, the publisher was just other. It wasn't Rippaverse, but I was like, hey, look at that. an action like Eric's book is actually like an indie book is included on the big retailer list of things that are coming out. That's pretty cool. So I don't know. I just thought that was a really neat win. One of those like, hey, I know that guy. So yeah, really cool for you guys over there. Let's see. Yep, Zero says there's localizers being insufferable animals, but that's like every day now. We'll probably talk about that with the anime stuff because there is a lot to get into right there. Oh, no way. Yeah, I've been MIA recently. I was in Cincy last Friday witnessing a no-hitter against my Reds. Dude, no way. You were there for that one? That's actually... I know that sucks, but it's still kind of at least a little bit cool to see. I'm not even going to lie. Let's see. Timon says, on the Sandrock front. Oh, yeah, so here's an update. Unfortunately, guys, if you've been following the saga of Timon's Brazilian Sandrock adventures, we have... I don't know what the exact ending is, but I did learn on Wednesday that it ended poorly, so I'm about to find out right now with you guys. Timon says, so the site denied my appeal. They want some official document with official stamp proving I didn't receive the package. I went to the store page on the website and found others with the same problem. Reviews dated days, weeks after I purchased the kit. Just my luck. Basically, I lost $200. Is there no, like Better Business Bureau for Brazil or, like, an economic thing you could... I feel like that's just a straight up, like, crime, right? And again, I know I'm looking at it from American law and legal perspective, but all right, as like I'm gonna make some sort of charity stream. I feel genuinely bad. Like we're gonna have the 24-hour Xenoblade Sandrock donate to get Timon his Sandrock cashback stream, because this is like this continually eats me up inside. Even now when I go out and I see Gunpla on shelves in like a Target or something, I just go, man, I hope Timon like had a good ending. And unfortunately, it looks like you did not. Let's see. Andrew says, I don't know about care about, but I deal with it every week when publishing stuff on our site. Yeah, I mean, just when I say care about, I mean, there's probably one or two of you out there who really are interested or want to talk or even have any care about like site inner workings, coding on the back end. And yeah, you get it. We all get it. It's going to be annoying, but hey, that's the job. That's the hand we get dealt sometimes, right? Let's see. Yeah. Gooding. Okay. It is Gooding, as, Andrew was told. Cider! What is up, Cider, my man? Always a pleasure to see you. Yeah, Gooding, Ripazine number 2, Redacted, and Peach Momoko variant cover for Gooding too. Gotcha. No, of course. No, I'm kidding. I mean, I'm not kidding. Get on it. But no, yeah, I know you've been busy over there. You guys have been having a bunch of launches lately. It's been a busy clerical time, if that makes any sense. So yeah, Blake Snell's no-hitter in person. I can't believe that, Corey. That's so... I like Blake Snell. I do genuinely like him. Yeah, Andrew says, at this point, I feel like I need to donate cancer to you so you can play the damn Xenoblade. Dude, I do. I need... Like I said... Have you guys seen that South Park episode where Randy wants to get, like, medical marijuana, so he tries to give himself cancer, and he finds out that the best way to do it is by putting his balls in the microwave and just radiating him to death? At this point, that's how drastic I'm getting to get 5 minutes of Xenoblade play in. Like, Xenoblade play in, right? I'm so worried, guys, because... when we ended the stream the other night, or the other night, a month ago, when was the last time I got to play Xenoblade, when we ended that stream, I was at, I did one more mission afterwards, and I went to do like one of those challenge trial missions, and I was able to do it, and that is deadly for me, because when it comes to like challenges and stuff like that in games, especially if it's like A ranking, C rankings and stuff, I get obsessed with it. So we're on the precipice of me just losing my entire life. Yeah, dude, Cider, I need like a sip break bumper. I need a going to the bathroom bumper. I need a countdown bumper. I have so much like bumper work or like graphic work, upgrade work I need to do. We've been about 42-ish streams now there's 42 episodes of Good Map Ugly. There've been a couple random streams here or there. So it's probably about time for a, what do you call it? A thematic refresh, if you will. Uh, oh, cool. Yeah. Andrew says Chuck's next book will be soon too. I'm excited for that. Big fan of Chuck's work. So, is it going to be, or I guess you can't really talk about it. I was just going to ask, is it another, Alpha Core, or is it something new? But hey, that's all. That's what, you're supposed to tease us with. That's what we're all supposed to find out later on. Yeah, Cider's right. No, you had right the first time. Xenoblade playing. When I say Xenoblade playing, it makes me sound like Xenoblade Sling Blade. Xenoblade. Let's see. Oh yeah, the Horseman. That's right. That's what it is. I'm excited. I like the Horseman design. I know it's a little goofy, but it works for me. I don't know what it is. Look at that. Move out here, become the EIC of our website, and then play Xenoblade. Honestly, at this point, I might, just because it is bonkers ass hot in Arizona. Like, it is. I don't know if anybody caught us over on that game place on Wednesday, but when the show started, I was about 15 minutes late because I walked outside for about 10 minutes to walk my dogs, and I was like dripping in sweat. I was just a puddle. I could not go on screen here without just looking like I was being interrogated. We need like a hydration. I bet there's gotta be, right? Like, there's gotta be some sort of water bottle with some sort of stupid Bluetooth technology that links up to something on screen, probably for like e-girls, right? Where you sip and it has like like this shows it go down, and then you have like a hydration meter who goes up. I don't know. I feel like that could be a very easy content farming interaction thing. Hey, Lizard of Linux is here. What is up, my man, or my gal? I have no idea what gender you are. Who cares? I don't know, but what's up, dude? That's gender neutral. We'll go, dude. Andrew says people who like very violent vigilante characters will be on board with Horseman. Yeah, and then kind of like what Corey is saying, I get a Batman-like vibe from it. I definitely do too. There's something, I don't know what it is. The tall horse head is like ridiculous, but it works for some reason. I could not tell you why that is or how that is, but it just does. So yeah, I'm totally interested in that. You guys, this is my suggestion, Andrew, because I admittedly, like, I've said this before, and this is nothing against Andrew. This is nothing against any other creator or Eric or anybody. But when it comes to crowdfunding stuff, I generally try, like, I support the endeavors and everything, but it takes a lot for me to sort of donate to a first endeavor sort of thing, right? Because I have just been burned way too many times by way too many projects. And I don't mean like Comic Gates or anything, that stuff. I mean, like, I got burned by the Wonderful 101, right? When they had that crowdfunding thing. I've had other board games and stuff that, like, I just, Mighty Number 9, I almost gave money to that. I was that close because it was Mega Man or Mega Man-esque. So because of that, I've missed out on like Alpha Core 1 and ISOM 1 and stuff. You guys should do a like trade collection of the number ones, right? And just maybe call it like the Ripiverse Prime. I don't know, because I learned that they made this really, really cool collection called Marvel 1916 or something, or no, it's like Marvel 1967, something like that. And it basically collects every comic that was published that year leading up to Fantastic Four #1, right? Because and the whole point is that during that time, Marvel was struggling to find like a hit in terms of comics. So around that time, Marvel was putting out, Westerns and war stories and mysteries and horror and romance and everything, just looking for a hit until Stan and Jack dropped Fantastic Four, and the rest was history. But it's a really cool collection because you get to see just like, what were they trying? What were they experimenting? What were their strategies? And it's just really, really interesting to delve into that. And I think something like that could be really cool. Well, you know what I mean. I just crowdfund, pre-order, just with amateur, and again, amateur in like or let me rephrase that. Fledgling endeavors. I want to see, I want to make sure that even if you guys have it printed, it gets delivered to me. It gets, again, it's not you guys. I do this with anybody, any crowd. I mean, I did it with the Common America guys, right? I waited until the omnibuses came out to start collecting them. It's just a personal policy because I don't have enough money to be burned on whatever. And again, not saying Eric and the Rippaverse would do that. I know you guys too well for that. It's just that's where I'm at. But I think that would be cool, sort of like a sampler thing or like a Rippaverse Origins thing. Just a nice, cool hardcover like that. That's just my suggestion. Just throwing it out there. A reptilian. Well, if you are truly a reptilian lizard, I hope you are the kind that takes, like, you can pull your skin off and you don't do like the occasional side blinks, because those are the ones that scare the hell out of me. Oh no, Andrew, from what I'm saying is from here, like if I were to go get a Rippaverse thing now, I would not be, go get Yaira, go get Gooding, go get Horseman, whatever. Like I know I wouldn't have a problem with that. But what I'm saying is I missed out on things like Alpha Core and Isom because I was like, okay, I need to see them deliver first. So like, because I don't have those two anymore, or like I can't grab those two anymore, it would be cool to have them all together in like a readable collection. And then, yeah, just be able to go, okay, this one, this one, this one, this one. Oh, look, there's Yaira, there's this. That would be really cool. But yeah, I do admire that you guys have all your stuff printed out and ready to go rather than looking, like waiting for the funds to come in. It's, again, I've never crowdfunded anything. I've never had a comic book campaign. I don't know how to, I'm not going to speak on that realm, but I just will, from a customer perspective, it is nice to know that you guys have that around. Yeah, but I don't want one cover in print, Andrew. I want cover A, run 1. All right. If I don't have that, I don't want anything else. And I know you know exactly what I'm talking about. So Lizard here asks, did you get the name Mav from a video game? I did, actually. My name, so I've been on these digital streets a long time. But so my name comes from back in the day. I was part of a sprite artist community forum, web sprite comics, sprite editing, sprite ripping, all that sort of fun stuff. And I sort of got into it when I was around 10, 11 years old. And so when I needed to create a screen name, I went with the 10, 11-year-old way of creating a screen name. And I took my favorite video game character at the time, who was Zero, and I took, I wanted to make him the edgy bad one from before he got turned good and started helping X and the Maverick Hunters. So I put Maverick, Zero, and then that wasn't enough, or like that was already taken by, I think, AIM at the time. So I threw X at the end of there to be, because of X. So it was Maverick, Zero, X for like the longest time. And then over time, it went from Maverick, Zero, X to Maverick, Zero to simply Mav. And I have been Mav for the last 15, 20 years at this. I have no idea how long it's been since the Mav shortening has happened. But it's gotten to the point where I have friends in real life who don't like calling me by my real name because they've only known me as Mav and stuff like that. But yeah, it all links back to Mega Man. Everything about me, you can always link it right back to Mega Man in some way, shape, or form. Let's see. Okay, so what I wanted to talk about, or before we talk about this, Tehillim says, what the Rippaverse really needs is like the old-fashioned action and detective comics facsimile, I don't even know how to say it. I just read that word all the time. Facsimile magazine edition with more than one story about different characters. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Andrew, is that not what like the Rippaverse magazines are? I'm leaving that up to you because I think that's what they're doing. But yeah, we need more just anthology productions in general, whether it's like anthologies of short stories, anthologies of comic book miniseries, anthologies of manga one-shots, even anthologies of tiny indie games. Like that, I feel like anthologies are the best way to bring people in, to tap to other people, to sort of expand your interest in all this. I don't even know. Oh, okay, yeah, facsimile. All right, everybody got it. I got help from everybody. Thank you guys for teaching the English major how to pronounce words. But yeah, no, I think I like having. like that's what I love about like Shonen Jump, right? Is that you get Shonen Jump and there's a bunch of different stories, and I might read, I might pick it up for One Piece, but then I'll keep reading and go, oh hey, this is interesting. Oh hey, that's kind of cool. Or maybe I'm all done with it and I drop it, and maybe it flips open to a cool piece of art, and I'm like, whoa, what's that from? And I check it out. I'm a big fan of anthology style stuff. Especially because I think it's great for creators to, team smaller creators up with somebody bigger, gets them the chance to get more experience, have people learn about them. I just think it's all around a good thing. So I would love to see more anthology style stuff. Oh no! Goku knocked over my Switch. How could you do that to me, my buddy? Let's see. Yeah, Andrew says, respect on your handle, Origin, but I'm a Forte base guy. Dude, I'm not even truly that much of a Zero guy. I'm more of a Proto Man guy. But again, I was 10 years old. You had super cool robot who was red and he had a sword, the laser sword, not like that wimpy Buster we see all the time. Oh, but he also has a Buster, and his name starts with Z. How cool. Again, it's just 10-year-old edgelordiness. If I were more into, let's say, like Legend of Zelda, I probably would have been like Deity Link X or whatever, right? Just whatever stupid 10-year-old edginess you can grab out of there. Lizard says, Summoner Wars has a penguin named Mav. I definitely like Mega Man X more than Summoner War, though. I do know about the Summoner War penguin named Mav. I had him as my, in a Discord server I'm in, I had him as my icon for a little bit because of that name association. And then, yeah, Zero. So the Mav stands for Maverick. That's exactly what it stands for. Oki and I would have a nice time with you discussing Mega Man. Hey, I'm always up to talk about Mega Man. I will talk Mega Man forever. Just do not get me started on Mega Man Legends 3, because that will end with the stream being taken offline for vulgarity and like threats of violence and all that sort of stuff. Did someone say Mega Man? Reeve, we absolutely did say Mega Man. What is up, my friend? Nice to see you. I've been hanging out. C0, because you haven't been streaming lately, I've been over hanging out with Reeve, catching some Jedi Survivor, checking out what you guys all like about that game. Still not sold on it myself, but I can definitely see more of the appeal from you guys, so that's pretty cool. Let's see. Okay, so that, yeah, the Rippaverse zine has one new short story and then previews, and then that's what Tehillim was saying. So maybe that is something that the Rippaverse does in the future. Maybe they start doing anthologies. Maybe they credit you, Tehillim. Maybe they go first issue of the Rippa anthology inspired by Tehillim. Zero says One Piece has finally gotten new color volumes. I gotta resume reading. I hate that I have to admit this because you've got me in a corner now. I am so far fucking behind on One Piece. It is actually embarrassing. I believe I left off on the chapter where Vegapunk talks to them about the origins of the Devil Fruit, which was like the beginning. That was like January. And the reason I do that is because, especially with like manga releases, I tend to read them in batches, because a lot of times, like, one chapter has a lot going on, but nothing really connective, and then you sort of forget about it by the next chapter, and then maybe they call back to it 4 chapters later. So I like to keep myself more appraised of everything that's going on. So I'm behind One Piece. I got to catch up on it. But yes, Zero, you should definitely catch up on it. Facsimile is Latin, not English. You get a pass. Oh, thank goodness. I'm still okay. I'm still technically correct. The best kind of correct. Lizard says 30XX is pretty cool. If you haven't tried that game, I recommend trying it. Absolutely love 30XX. I know Zero just got done playing it earlier this year. Love 30XX. Pretty much any sort of Mega Man inspired indie game, platformer, whatever you want to call them, I'm sort of all about, whether it's 30XX, whether it is oh my gosh, I'm Gunvolt, like all of those. Every other company does Mega Man better than Capcom at this point. Like, even I've talked about this before. 9 and 10 were solid outings, but they just weren't. They were fine to me. They were just fine. They weren't like Mega Man's back. Well, here we are, baby. It was just like, okay, that was fun. Can we get something like real now? Yeah. To him who, it was my idea. There you go. That's how that's the cutthroat world of entertainment. Look at that. You should have copywritten the idea, to him. I'm so sorry. Lizard of Linux says some people don't know about Mega Man Legends and Legends 2, and for those for those sad people, that's why, like, we need a Mega Man Legends collection. Mega Man Legends 1, 2, going to be a tech demo for Mega Man Legends 3, and then it just never came out to anything. Put all of that together, and if you want to be really, really cool, you could even put in Tatsunoko versus Capcom, because that has Mega Man as a fight, like Mega Man Volnut as an actual fighter. So, yeah, Mega Man Legends is my favorite video game of all time, my favorite series. It is aged incredibly well. The graphics look great. The gameplay is perfect. The world building is immersive. The characters are all enjoyable. You literally don't make them like that anymore. And so, yeah, you can tell I love Mega Man Legends to death. That version of Roll is like one of my official waifus. I love the Fluttershy, the Flutter to death. So yes, Legends forever. Coming back. Are we restored? I think we're back. So the problem, what keeps happening over here is that when my VPN activates, it for some reason absolutely torpedoes the OBS connection. So I turned it off for an hour before to test it, and I forgot to turn the time back more. So it just activated, and I just had to turn it off again. So hopefully from here on out, I'm not getting any more. I'm all green here. I'm not dropping any frames. I think we're going to be okay. Yeah, I see you guys got like white screens. People got shut down. Very, very weird. But yeah, I think we are back. I put Shadow Delta in a thumbnail, who I think is a callback to the Dark Zero armor. Very cool. Yeah. Zero X. Yeah. I do know, here, I'm going to bring up that game because I do know what you're talking about, Lizard. I'm going to show everybody who doesn't know what you're talking about. But yes, I am actually very excited for this game. Whoa, loud. All right, just setting up the window and everything so we can all take a look. And we will go over there and we will hit play. Yeah, like the way this art style translates like drawn graphics, it's awesome. There's just like this, Mega Man Legends does it, No More Heroes does it a little bit. We've talked about this before, but I will prefer stylization in video games over hyper realistic fidelity any day, because this right here, this Mega Man Legends, those games are going to age way better than The Last of Us 2, RE4 remake, as much as that game is good. These, the simplistic, the stylistic, it just works better on the brain. I think it lets you do cooler stuff. Like, you can have more effects like that. You can have more stylistic coloring or motion. If this trailer ends with an Akira, I don't think I remember the end of this trailer, but if it ends with an Akira bike slide, I am going to lose my mind, because I am of the opinion that the Akira bike slide is like, you use it, you reference it to go, oh, isn't it so cool that I know anime? And then all you know are like anime references and memes. You don't know actual anime stuff. Like, I cannot stand the Akira bike slide at this point anymore. Yes, exactly. Cider and Andrew, giant booba from a boss. Nonetheless, this is the history they don't want to teach you in schools. Oh wait, that was too far. Yeah. This is the real history they don't want to teach you in schools. This is what they're trying to take from you. Rogue Galaxy, dude, Timon. I loved Rogue Galaxy on PS2. Very big, for those who haven't played it, very big, sort of expansive, dark cloud-esque RPG with very much a similarly styled art style. I missed that game. I wish that they would do a sequel to it or something. I had a lot of fun with that game in high school, very much. Let's see. Mega Man 11. I can't remember. That's the Switch one, right? I liked it. It was that's more of a direction I would want the series to go in. I liked the improved graphics, like not the 8-bit, not 32, but I liked the 3D, 2D art style. I thought the bosses were a little lame. I think they've been a little lame for a long time. I mean, what is it? In number 9, you literally have a baseball as an enemy. I'm all for goofy and I'm all for camp, but that's just a little bit too, like, we're not even trying today. One of the things I did like most about 11, though, was how it introduced, and let me see if I can grab a picture of it, how it introduced, okay, I guess I can only really grab one picture for it, or one image of it, but that's okay. That's okay, because it illustrates my point. Oh, hey, look, somebody actually, this is what I was looking for. This is what I was looking for. How convenient. I just had to click something else. Okay. This is like the thing I liked most about Mega Man 11 was that when you changed your weapon, instead of changing color, Mega Man started changing form as well. And, you know, very subtly, whether it was just like a little helmet or his buster changed. That's like the thing I really liked about 11. I wish we would get more. I don't know why we're not getting more. Capcom continues to just go, we have him. Okay, bye. Like every investor's call, every shareholders meeting, every press interview for, you know, Summer Games Fest or Gamescom, whatever. It's always just, hey, do you guys have any Mega Man plans? Thank you. Mega Man's a thing. Thank you. Like, that's all. I hate it. It frustrates me so much. But yes, 11, very solid outing. Liked this mechanic a lot. Always want to see more of it. It was a little slow mechanically compared to the other Mega Mans, which threw me off in the beginning. But I think once you get like 2 bosses in, it goes away. But it's very much, it's kind of like going from GTA San Andreas to GTA 4, where you had, you know, back in the day, it was a little more arcadey type physics, and then you get to an attempt to be not realistic, but a little more weighty. And in doing so, you screw things up like Mega Man's jumping or Nico driving the car or things like that. That's what I'm saying, Reeve. Come on, Capcom, give us Legends 3. What are you waiting for? Get him off the moon. I swear to God, I have been waiting for years. I've never been huge on classic Rockman. I'm more a Rockman X guy, but Net Warrior is my shit. So yeah, for me, in terms of, like, I love all of them. I think they all give different, like, they're Mega Man for different audiences, I guess is the best way to put it. You know, you have your classic 80s superhero, Sentai, Kamen Rider, just like Batman, Superman, Spider-Man sort of inspired era classic original Mega Man, right? Got to fight to save the world, spandex suit with like underwear on, very much that classic era. Then you have X, which is the 90s, the 2000s, the anime kid era, if you will, right? Everybody starts getting their big jewel eyes, everything starts getting more glowy and a little more over designed. Still cool, but it's for a bit of a different audience. Then you have EXE, which was meant for, you know, a younger generation who was more into the internet and digital things, and that's where that took off. And then that leads to Star Force. And then Legends was trying to capitalize on the awesome action adventure craze of the 90s that we had with like Banjo and Zelda, and they don't want to support it, and I hate them every day for it. Shinkai says 1 probably had the most cringiest Mega Man story. Do you mean Mega Man 1? I wouldn't say that's the cringy. I'd say that's the most basic, because it's just robots go evil, stop evil robots. I can't really find cringe in that one. Let's see. Lizard says, Mega Man greater than X, greater to Mega Man 0. Oh, he's giving the timeline. Yes, Mega Man to X to 0 to Legends. This is a timeline, not a ranking. That is correct. And then you can go the if you go the alternate timeline route, it goes Mega Man, Battle Network, and then to Star Force. Because in that world, Wily and Dr. Light go for digital rather than analog technology. Not one, I. So I probably had the most cringiest Mega Man story. You have the cringiest Mega Man story, Shinkai? Well, if you want to share it, I'd love to read it, but I'm interested now in what you mean. Taylor says, watching the live stream still, just reading some manga like Superman Meshi and Shaman King Omnibus. Dude, those are some great picks. I will give every manga effort out of DC and Marvel right now is better than their actual output, whether that's Joker Operation 1 or Batman Operation Joker, Justice Buster, Superman Meshi, the Deadpool Samurai, which we'll talk about in a bit. All of that stuff is great. Like, I'm glad you're reading it. Let me know your thoughts on it, my friend. Star Force, I love Star Force as well. I'm kind of sad Star Force died as fast as it did. We were truly getting Kamen Rider levels of Mega Man with all of his armor changes and form changes. And I loved the idea of the FMians, where they were like space aliens that rode on radio waves, but they got to Earth and then they combined with humans to give the forms. I don't know. Something about that is just straight cool, and I really like it. Linux or Lizard says, don't think about Command Mission. Problem is, I love Command Mission. I really like it. It's super basic. It's kind of like Babby's first RPG, but I can't lie. I was a big fan of it. I want to see more of it. I would love to see them explore more genres like that, right? We've gotten a couple Mega Man RPGs like Super Rockman World or Command Mission, but never really after that. And you know what? You want to get me really mad, Lizard? You say don't bring up Battle Chip Challenge, which is that really awful spin-off they did of the EXE games for the Game Boy Advance, where you kind of just like selected your character and then they auto-battled, and you could like give them chips to take into battle, but you weren't really fighting. It was really lame. That's like the best way I can put it. It was kind of like very almost mobile game levels, but back in the Game Boy Advance era. Dude, Linux, I had a pet too. I had the Proto Man pet, the red one that you like slide the chips into, and it had the little Digimon-esque screen or the Tamagotchi-esque screen on it. Oh yeah, I definitely had one of those. Imported it from Japan and everything when I was like 12. I remember it was such like an ordeal, but I did it, and when the package arrived on my doorstep, I completely lost my mind. Sorry, I'm just grabbing something real quick. Alrighty. Ain't nothing wrong with liking Mega Man X Command Mission. I like Command Mission. This is a Command Mission safe zone. Yeah, the chips came with action figures. I had a couple of those action figures, not all of them, unfortunately. I even played for a very short time. They had a Battle Network card game. I think it only got like 2 sets, but I played that for however long it was out. I still have my foil Color Man EXE card sitting in a binder. I just looked at it the other day. Yeah, I was so all in on Mega Man Battle Network. I've told the story before, Lizard. I don't know if you were hanging out during that on the stream during that period, but I got into, so when I was a kid, I remember I was a kid on the internet, right? And when news started trickling out in 2000, early 2001 about Mega Man Battle Network, because I spent a lot of my time on the internet on Mega Man specific sites, I started seeing all the news going, oh my gosh, we're getting a new Mega Man. This is so exciting. But at the time, all the reports were like, we have no idea if this is coming to America. There are no plans to come to America. And keep in mind, this was the early 2000s. So this was back in the day when, you know, anime, Japanese stuff, this was not so widely accepted or widely considered profitable. So it was not easy to get this stuff. generally, if I wanted something from Japan, I would have to wait until Comic-Con rolled around every year, and I would have to go to the independent retailers who had their connections from Japan, who had all that stuff, and would bring it to the show floor. But to the oh my gosh, what? I completely just blanked on whatever story. Oh, Mega Man. So, yeah, I was seeing all this news. I was so excited, and I remember telling my mom and my grandma and everybody who would listen, like, look, there's a new Mega Man coming out, and it's coming out on this new system, the Game Boy Advance. Like, oh my gosh, I really hope this comes. I don't even know what to do with myself. I'm losing it. And then lo and behold, like 2002, 2001, whatever year it came out, June rolls around, my birthday. I get a gift from my grandmother, who's like 70, and I open it. It's an imported copy of Battle Network and a fucking imported Game Boy Advance. Okay. Like, I don't know how my grandmother, the most tech illiterate woman in the world, was able to do this, but she did it. And I remember, like, I lost my mind. I was so excited. And I brute forced my way through that damn game. Through the electric plant, through the hunt for Pharaoh Man, through the hunt, or through the stupid slide puzzle level. I forget which one that is with the ice. Like, I did all of that just brute forcing it because I didn't know Japanese. So that's always my sort of like point of pride. Like that's my mega card. I'll drop that out. Dang it. Yeah, exactly. Lizard says, I don't dislike Command Mission, but good luck explaining how it fits into a timeline with other games. I kind of just assume, I personally just go, it's an X game that happens somewhere down the line. Okay, don't make any more X games and we'll be okay. But you know they won't do that. Eventually they'll try and awkwardly ham-fist it into the timeline like they do with all the Zelda games. Dude, the Mega Man NT Warrior manga, that I loved that shit too. I have not all of them. I have a bunch of them. I used to, when I was a kid, I used to go every month to a Barnes and Noble and grab like new manga releases like Sergeant Frog, Naruto, Mega Man. I don't know why I stopped doing that. They're still relatively cheap. They're still only like $11 a volume. But yeah, I used to do that all the time. That's what I would spend all of my like high school job money on or whatever. So yeah, no, I'll always love that stuff. I'll always love going and picking up physical manga releases. Lizard of Linux Lane. You have Spider-Gwen with a spider logo as a background. That is cool. I wish the actual suit had that. So yes, before we start talking about anything else tonight, let's talk about, I'll address it. Our stream buddy for tonight is Sakura Spider. I don't know how many of you folks know who she is. This is specifically a variant cover done for an issue of Amazing Spider-Man, the Zeb Wells Amazing Spider-Man, that was drawn by this actual the artist of. Okay, so let me start from the top. In sort of linking back to what we were talking about, there is a manga series called Deadpool Samurai, and it released in Japan. It ran in Shonen Jump. It was an official collaboration between Shonen Jump and Marvel. And in the series, first of all, it's very, very good. I recommend everybody go and read it. Like, it's very good storytelling, very good character work, very good art, very good everything. You'll have a lot of fun. But in the story, they introduce two new characters. One being a Japanese idol singer, like a young idol singer who has a Venom symbiote, or not Venom symbiote, but a symbiote that gives her like twin tails and everything. It's really funny. And then her, Sakura Spider, who is just their original spider person, right? It's just they literally introduce her as a joke, and then they just keep using her. She shows up, and Deadpool basically goes like, oh, of course, we need our own spider character to boost ratings. And of course you make her a cute girl. That's what we're doing here in Japan. And then they just roll with her as a character. But I really like the character. She's a lot of fun in Deadpool Samurai. I really like her design. Like you said there, Lizard, it's like Spider-Gwen, but better. So I found out, earlier this week that the artist for Deadpool Samurai had done an actual variant cover for an issue of Zeb Wells' Amazing Spider-Man. And I I've liked it ever since I've seen it. I really wish that I could get it someday, but unfortunately, if you guys saw the tweet where I shared this, or if you saw it a second ago when I had it up on screen, it's a little much. I'm not paying $200 or $120 at discount for a cover. Like, I cannot in good faith do that. My soul still hurts from having paid $80 to get a copy of the Black Suit Spider-Man Ultimate Spider-Man #1 variant just to close out my collection. I knew that was too much. I recognize that, but I had to do it just to close out the collection. This is, I don't know, man. If you guys know people who spend $200 on variant covers, let me know. I'd love to talk to them and ask why. Because as much as I love these variant covers and the artwork is gorgeous, like, it's still just a mass-produced comic. Like, if I buy this for $200, I have this beautiful artwork, but then I open it and I've still got the same dog shit Zeb Wells story that would be there anyway. Like, it's sort of like, I love Art Germ as an artist. Like, I've had him as a stream buddy a couple times. We've talked about him before. And oftentimes, you know, he does variant covers for books, and I go, that looks really good. I would love to pick up that cover and display it somewhere. But the book itself is hot dog shit, and I don't want to spend $60, $70 on a dog water book. I'll spend that $70 on an art book where it's just his pieces. It's all nice and glossy. You know, it's collected in a nice hardcover, and I don't have to, you know, read Zeb Wells underneath it. One of my favorite Art Germ pieces, here, I can, what Google has been doing this to me all day, and I fucking hate it. I don't know what it is, but it is going to make me absolutely pissy. But like, here, Art Germ, right? This gorgeous piece of Power Princess from the Squadron Supreme. Love this piece. I've been obsessed with it since I saw it. I'm not spending money to put that Heroes Reborn event in my house. Like, I don't want that in my house. So, yeah, I just want to know, maybe the people who do spend that just have the money to spend on it, that don't have anything else to do with their lives. Do you want to sponsor me? I could use a sugar daddy. Why not? I could use some cash. Let's see. Andrew says, I had the entire Naruto manga collection from volume 1 through 72. Do you not still have it? I would think that'd be awesome to display on like a big ass bookshelf. Like, that's more than anything in my life, more than like cars, more than a pool, more than like acreage in a backyard or whatever. I've always wanted like this. I've always wanted fucking Belle's library from Beauty and the Beast, and I could just have all of my books and all of my stuff just like lined up, and I can go in and just look. I don't know. This is, men want one thing, and it's this. It is Belle's library. Yes, Timon, I agree. Gwen is dead. You guys know me. I'm not a big fan of Gwen as a love interest in general, even when she was alive. I get the impact of her death, but I'm sick of Gwen as a character. I'm sort of sick of her always being brought back for everything. Spider-Gwen, I will admit, I liked Spider-Gwen in the very, very, very beginning. I really liked her character. It's now, they've, you know, when it was that shock value of like, oh, you're a Gwen Stacy, that's crazy, and you're Spider-Man instead of me, like, that was like, interesting, very cool, didn't see that coming. But they've devalued multiverse spiders by a bazillion lately, just by making everybody a spider person, Oprah style. You get a Spider-Man, you get a Spider-Man, you get a Spider-Man. But oh gosh, I just blanked again. I don't know why I am blanking on that point. But oh yeah, and then they've pushed her too much. They've tried to make her a main character too hard, and I'm especially angry with what they've done with her now. We talked about it last week with her getting her like new Kamehameha superpowers, but the new Gwen series basically brought Gwen from her Earth onto Earth 616, and it's like, what's the point now? Like, stop putting everybody here. You're devaluing the character of Peter. You're devaluing Gwen. Like, it's it makes no sense whatsoever. They just, it's another case of Marvel had an unexpected hit and they don't know how to capitalize on it. So they're throwing spaghetti at the wall to try and capitalize on it. And it's just not working out for them. Linux says, I figured it was a split timeline. Command mission after X8 MMZ happens if the events in later X games happen in a way as not to allow X or 5 to occur. I can't remember which. Yeah, I mean that's the problem is around like 5, they want, like, what's his name wanted to end it. And then Capcom was like, no, we should keep going. And they made like a couple more. And then he was like, I'm out. I don't want to be here anymore. So then they made like 8 and 9. And those didn't need to be made. Those are the 2 that like crapped over everything. Or those 3, like 7, 8, 9 are the ones that completely crapped over everything in terms of timeline. So like, that to me is like a dark Capcom era, was the end of the X series, the like mid to early 2000s. It was a period when Capcom didn't know what they were trying to do, whether they wanted to go for American audiences or Japanese audiences, or focus on consoles or focus on handheld. Like, they were all over the place. And when you half-ass a bunch of things, you whole-ass nothing, essentially. And that's what happened to them. Volume Dealer asks, is Deadpool currently dating a self-insert non-binary? I have no idea. I don't really pay attention to Deadpool comics unless he pops up in like X-Force or an X-Men book, because most Deadpool stories are pretty bad. Most people don't understand Deadpool and they turn him into LOL Reddit joke tier meme man instead of like troubled comedian. And so I typically pass on Deadpool unless I start hearing really great things from everybody else. Let's see. Andrew says, I think I paid 80 or 90 for my San Diego Comic-Con J. Scott Campbell black suit variant Amazing Spider-Man 800. It's signed. See, like, even that makes sort of more sense to me, because like it's JSC. He like it's ASM 800. It's a landmark issue. It's signed. I can see 80 for that, especially like, for example, I'm not the biggest J. Scott Campbell fan, but if we wanted to put it on my terms, imagine, Andrew, if it was like Peach Momoko or Iban, like if one of those 2 put out like a special thing and they were charging $80 for it signed, I'd be on that in a heartbeat because I'm a fan and I think that is worth it. It's just when you're getting a normal book, it's really hard for me to justify spending maybe more than $10 on a non really important issue. Like, I don't even like spending $20 on the retailer incentive covers that sometimes come through, just because $20 for an issue, like I can buy 3 more other issues with that kind of cash, or I could buy 3 other foils. It's economics. Yeah, Andrew right here, or let's see, or Volume Dealer says, I saw a short about it. I don't know if it's current. I'll look into that because I haven't seen anything. The last time I saw Deadpool, he was in X-Force and he wasn't dating anybody. He was just being Deadpool. So no idea. I know that I have no idea. I genuinely have no idea. Awesome. Linux is out of here. May come back to view this live stream later. Mav might consider switching to Linux. We'll see. At the very least, I got to see what I can do about getting a Penguin companion here on stream. Take it easy, Linux. Happy to have you. We'll be looking forward to seeing you later, whether that's later on in tonight's show or in another stream. Take it easy, my friend. Andrew says, Deadpool and Wolverine World War III has been solid so far. Still need to read number 3. Yeah, see, J. Scott Campbell is one of my top 3 comic artists ever, says Andrew. So yeah, like that makes sense. Like to me, $80 dropping out on like a Peach Momoko, an Iban, a Jim Chung, something like that, I would not really blink an eye. But again, it's also like, Andrew, like, and everybody out there, the hardest part about it is like, okay, I bought that USM variant for $80. A lot of money, I get that. But at the very least, I'm sitting here holding an issue where I'm like, this is good. This is something I want to support. This was a good issue. I cannot in good faith let anything from Zeb Wells' run into my house. I've seen multiple variant covers out there from Zeb Wells' run that are really pretty. that are really good. You've got some really good Ed McGuinness stuff. There was a foil cover by Patrick Gleason, who I really like as a Spider-Man artist. There are a couple Ben Reilly ones, but I cannot bring myself to let that man into my house. Like I cannot do it. I've recounted the story before, I believe, but the other week DC just launched a new series called Zatanna. I think it's like Bring Down the House or Burn Down the House or something. And the very first issue had a foil cover of Zatanna by Art Germ, and I almost bought it. But as soon as I went and I saw who was writing it, it was by Mario Tamaki. I literally, in good faith, was just like, can't do it. I can't buy a Mario Tamaki book. I cannot say in my life I've given money to her writing because it is so bad. Yeah, exactly there. Right? You've got the same idea, Andrew. Oh, I get it. No Tom King book will ever enter my home again. And this is, okay, I need to bring this up on I'm going to get on my soapbox for a minute because... So I've talked to you about this, Andrew, but oh my gosh, can I? What is that artist's name? Hold on, Wonder Woman. Yeah. Okay. So there is this artist. His name is J. Totino Tedesco, and he's done these absolutely gorgeous Wonder Woman covers, like this one of her. Like I believe they are. Oh, you only gonna give me that one? Here, I can probably just do search Google for Tedesco Wonder Woman. Yeah, see, so he's got like that beautiful one we just looked at, this awesome one of Diana riding her kangaroo, Diana's like late 80s superhero costume, Diana in her full war regalia. This is one of my favorite ones because I have a weird affinity for the suit, but Diana in her 90s costume. I find these to be just some of the most gorgeous pieces, period. I don't know. There's something about his work. Like this one in particular really speaks to me. I really like it. I'd love to hang it somewhere. But they're on Tom King's books. These are on the Tom King run. I can't do that. I cannot put that man's book in my house. Like it just will not happen. I don't even like that outfit, but I like that cover. Oh yeah, the 90s outfit. It's not a good outfit. It is very bad. I just like, and I admit that, I just have a weird affinity about it. There's just something I do like about it. I couldn't tell you what it is. Yeah, like I don't know, something. You've got like Kingdom Hearts level Tetsuya Nomura like strap belts there, and like belts for her like chest piece. It's dumb, but I don't know, something. So I think it could be reworked. Give it to Dan Mora. Let the man cook. We could get a good version of this costume. Yeah, DC keeps putting good cover and interior artists on Tom King's book, and it's fucking infuriating. It's infuriating just that they keep giving that man so much control over their properties. They give him the biggest characters. They give him Supergirl. They give him Wonder Woman. They give him who was it? Didn't he have? Oh, he had Batman for a while. Like he does that, and then they hand him the keys to the DCU on screen, and it all collapses. It all falls apart. He's not a good writer. Get him the hell out of DC. Like, just get him gone. I don't want to see him anymore. If you won't let him into your house, you sure won't let him in your room. I'm not letting him near my property. If I find out one of my neighbors is a Tom King fan, I'm going to like break into their house and slowly, like, I'll steal their Tom King books and I'll slowly replace them with like I'll do like the John Byrne and the George Perez run, whatever, of Wonder Woman. I'll do the New 52 run of Wonder Woman. That was an actually good Wonder Woman run, right? So it is just monstrously bad, anything that comes out of Tom King. Okay, let's see. Volume Dealer says, was watching Gary and they were talking about how they have a few pages from New Warriors that was never released. Oh my god. Yeah, okay, so for those who haven't heard the news, let me pull this up. You guys remember these guys? You you guys remember Marvel's really awful attempt at making, for lack of a better term, you guys know I hate using this term unironically, but they're woke new warriors, right? Literally taking all of the culture war stuff from Twitter and trying to turn it into superheroism. Very, very dumb move. Very, very, like, even people who you would think would be the target demo for this stuff went, this is really, really embarrassing for you guys. Like, this is how do you do, fellow kids? This is Hillary Clinton busting out the hot sauce during her campaign stops in the South. Like, it's pandering 101. So for those of you who don't remember, yeah, you've got Trailblazer, Type B, I think, Snowflake, Safe Space, and I don't even remember what this guy's name is, but his powers were based on the fact that he huffed internet gas, which is, I won't lie, I kind of like that concept on the goofy Golden Age comic book level, but the fact that they're not trying for that, like, they're not trying to have this sense of, like, let's bring modern concepts to Golden Age superheroism. They're trying to play it all straight. That, to me, makes it way weirder and way more embarrassing. When you could have done something like, I got a router installed in me, or a super router, or I got cables and whatever. You can do something that isn't, I huffed internet gas, which makes just zero sense. So, yeah, exactly, Shinkai, when you sniff too much internet gas. So this book was written, it was done by, I believe, Daniel Kibblesmith, and it was slated for release. Gosh, let's look at when this article is from Marvel, right? Screen Time, that's his name. So they announced these guys in 2020. Soon after, they basically said, they quiet shelved the book. The book was apparently done. It was ready to go. And I know that because I have they put the trade paperback listing up on Amazon, like, right a couple months after they announced this. Like, they were ready. It's all set to go. I have it on pre-order. I want this damn book. Like, for some Mavlore, for those of you who might not be regular viewers of the Wednesday night Bounding Into Comics stream or the Wednesday night 01 stream over at Bounding Into Comics, I have a bit of history with this book because from the moment this book was announced, I laughed myself until I couldn't breathe. And then I've wanted this book to be released so bad because I know that this book is going to be like one of the perfect examples you point at when you point at ideological, culture war driven storytelling bullshit from either side, right? Like, it is an embarrassing piece of writing top to bottom, especially from so-called professional writers. This is the level of writing you expect from somebody making a PSA for, like, Burger King to play after school because the Burger King CEO got, like, in a DUI and he needs to do some sort of community service. That's what this feels like. Over, I want to make something that speaks to the moment we're in, that speaks to our culture. Like, it was all bad, and I've wanted this book since it came out. Like, I need this book. I know it's finished. It's sitting there. Marvel, just release it and take your hits. Like, take your L's. You deserve them. Let me see this book. And yeah, as to what Volume Dealer is saying, apparently last week, ya boy Zach got a copy, I think, of the first issue at least, and I guess now Gary and the Friday Night Tight crew might have a copy as well. But it is out there. This book is slowly leaking. It's around. I need it. I need this book so bad. I need the absolute garbage injected right straight into my vein. I know this is going to be so bad, and I need it. I need it not just for myself and my own enjoyment, but it needs to be released, and people need to make sure that Marvel never forgets that they did this. Like, this is something they need to be continually embarrassed about this forever. In the same way that people bring up Snowflame, the DC character that gets his powers from snorting cocaine, people need to bring up this entire New Warriors roster as just embarrassing, trying to be of the times writing. It's so bad. Playing it straight is one hell of a choice of words. Look, you know what? You got me there. I have nothing to say. Especially when you have safe space right there in the middle, right? Like we all know. We all know what the narrative was going to be there. It's all bad. It's not great. Superpower Starlink installed in my Neuralink. Oh shit, you'll be controlled by Starlink or Neuralink. I mean, that some level that would have been an even more sensible story for screen time, right? Instead of huffing internet gas, oh, his grandpa is a crazy man who dislikes Elon Musk or I guess it's Marvel, so you could do a stand-in like hates Tony Stark or hates Fei Long or whomever, and wants to beat them to the punch with a neurochip, and he thinks he can do it better, and he cuts corners and he experiments on his own grandson, and boom, he has internet power. See, even that makes more sense than huffing internet gas. It just, how do you gasify? Let's see. How like it just. I don't know, guys. Like, it's so bad. Let's see. Talem says, Spencer, even Brian Michael Bendis can write some terrible stories. I know people can write terrible stories. I'm fully aware of that. I've seen the industry over the last couple years. But this is beyond a bad story. This is something else. This is, like Andrew says, it's a car crash. And I want to experience it firsthand. I want to break down, if this ever drops, if all 6, 12 issues, whatever of this ever drops, we are doing a live stream or I'm doing videos. I am breaking down everything about this book because this will be a masterclass in how not to do anything. Like I even look at the character design for Trailblazer here, right? And it's like, you guys tried to go get a Jack Kirby-esque influence on her, but I don't know, it doesn't work. It feels like a bad imitation. And because, you know, the New Gods Jack Kirby stuff is so prominent over at DC, it makes the use of the New Gods patterny stuff very, very odd here. I know the Eternals sort of use it too, but it's much more Apocalypse New God imagery than it is Eternals imagery, right? Like especially like the zig lines with the dots, it's very Dark Side, very Apocalypse. Didn't see this on the tiny chat, Borks. I sent you a bumper on Twitter. Music is safe. Oh, hell yeah, Cider. Okay, I will. Hopefully there will be a chance for me to grab that while I'm talking, and I can use it the next time I sip water. That's awesome. You're the best, dude. Shinkai says the Gotham High book is just as hilarious. The Gotham High book is very, 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 very stupid in how it, you know, takes everybody, like that's the Joker, turns them all into generic, just teenage angst stuff. But I think I'm less mad. Like I think this is stupid. Don't get me wrong. It was a complete misfire, but I almost give it a little, like in comparison to New Warriors, this gets more of a pass from me because I at least know like that's what they were intentionally trying to appeal to a younger YA crowd, right? I get it. I don't necessarily agree with their approach, but I can see why they made the decision, or not why, but you know, like I can see the reasoning behind everything, right? We got to make the kids, you know, make these characters relatable to high schoolers, make them in a high school setting. Fine. You did it the wrong way, but I get your mission statement. With New Warriors, there isn't anything that deep. It is literally just like, oh, we're going to own the Chuds by taking their terminology and turning it against them and making it ours. And again, they're trying, the entire point is like, these are real superheroes. You take them seriously. Like this is, they're for real. And it's like, nah, it doesn't work. If you had made like, what's the best way I can sort of equate this almost is, I don't know. I think that was probably on its face is the best way I have of describing it, but that's what it is. That's like the other one had a very clear angle they were going for. They just went about it the wrong way. This one was like, we are trying to be comic book for real, very serious comic book for normal comic readers. Come buy our book. And it just, I don't think it worked. There was Let's see. Volume Dealer says the only creator that had weirder characters was Mike Allred on his version of X-Force. I like that's the thing though, right? When it's all about sort of like knowing what you're reading the room essentially, because when you go for X-Force in Mike Allred's X-Force and X-Static, which by the way, I love those books. They're a lot of fun for how goofy they are. But he knows the entire premise is that the members of this team have weird powers. Their powers are supposed to be kind of stupid, right? Like there's Mr. Sensitive, who's sensitive to everything. There's Dead Girl, there's Dupe. Like just random guys who aren't necessarily field X-Men operatives. Like they're not going to be going up with, they're not going to be on X-Men 97, but they exist. And that's what Allred was going for. And that's when you can get behind that because the entire point is that they're weird. Here, the entire point isn't that they're weird. You're supposed to celebrate these guys as, again, taking back the narrative, the terminology from the idiot, the chuds online, the far right online, all that sort of stupid stuff. That was the entire motive behind all of this. There's nothing deeper to it. So, and again, they're trying to sell you these guys as like, these are genuinely good, unique, like you are going to love these heroes. These are your next Avengers level like things. Okay, maybe not that extreme, but like here are your next new additions to the MC, like the 616. And it's like, no, you guys are trying too hard. You guys, instead of saying, like Allred said, hey, here's my gang of losers, come hang out with us if you want, we'd love to have you. This was like, here's our gang of misfits. You guys are going to love them. They're going to own those other people. And when you take that sort of combative stance, it turns off not just obviously the people you didn't want, but your readers as well. So yeah, just an entire misfire that I so desperately, like if I had cancer, if I was a Make-A-Wish kid, if I get cancer, I'm shaving all of my beard so that I look like I'm 17 again, like an Asian person. And then I'm going to say, hey, Marvel, please let me read New Warriors just before I die. Like that would be my wish. I would die happy knowing that I got to read this absolute dumpster fire. Oh no, out of water almost. All right. With that talk about various comic book related stuff, I think we should talk about some more contemporary comic book news. But before we start, I know that I believe it was Volume Dealer said it. Where is... Yeah, Volume Dealer said I think he said he liked this cover, the Nicholas Scott variant covers. So Nicholas Scott's done a bunch of different covers like this for different DC superheroes. They're not bad. And like the bummer part is, you would think, knowing me and how much I love alternate outfits and all that sort of stuff, these would be the covers that are right up my alley. Like they've got one for Superman, for Flash, for Batman, all that stuff. There's something about that. I feel like there's no rhyme or reason to the suits that are picked. They're just sort of like random picks from random eras with no rhyme or reason. And they're not all encompassing and there's no theme to it. So it sort of just makes me go, yeah, just threw things together. Why would you do that? Like I'll show you the Batman one. Like see, here's the Batman one, and you can see all the Bat ones. You've got his original outfit, his more like comic booky one, his like 60s era one, the Adam West, the 80s, like the 70s, 80s, the Dark Knight Returns, the 90s, New 52, his current what do you call this, the Rebirth suit, I guess is what it is, and then the suit from the Flash that Batfleck wears. Like it, okay, like I get why some of these are picked, but where is where's the Keaton bat suit? Where is the Clooney bat suit? Where's the animated bat suit? Where is the where's Azrael's bat suit? Like that's because there's such little rhyme or reason to how these were picked. I think maybe they're trying to go by decade, but it's still just, I don't know. They're artistically well done, I guess. I'm just not a fan of the fact that they pick seemingly random suits. Again, though, if you throw foil on it, I'm right there immediately. Like I will buy it. And yeah, Timon, the Batman back here does look very much like a Hawkeye. All right. Let me see. Let me pull up what books do we want to talk about tonight? We've still got about 40 minutes. Not bad. Let's start. All right. Not a very big week, just a few sort of comic book related topics I wanted to hit on. So we'll start with the quicker hits and then move on to the main thing I wanted to talk about when it came to this week's comics. So the first up we got, oh, I gotta like put it on the right window and everything because it is freaking out on me. Let's talk, as the thumbnail of the stream and the title of the stream sort of indicated, let's talk about the newest issue of Uncanny X-Men, the reboot. We got our number one, our post-Krakoa Uncanny X-Men reboot, headed by Gail Simone, of all people. Our first issue is in, and honestly, it's not a bad issue. So far, I would say, of the From the Ashes books we've gotten, this might be probably the most interesting so far, or at least the most, yeah, interesting is probably the right word. And I think a lot of that has to do with the lineup we're getting, but we'll get into that. So we get into the book. We have our new villain. They're not entirely sure what she wants. She's sort of dismantling everything from the X-Men. She's not Ortiz, but anti-mutant. She's got this prisoner. We don't know who it is. Mysterious Prisoner X, all that fun stuff. Andrew said, I haven't read it yet, but I grabbed the Andy Kubert cover. I haven't been grabbing any of these From the Ashes reboot books, except for, I've got the J.S. Scott Campbell variants for the first 5 issues of just solid X-Men standalone book. I've got those on pre-order, obviously, because they're variants, and I picked up the foil cover for Phoenix, and I'm picking up the foil cover for Psylocke. But I generally avoid picking up especially X-Men number ones, because these books often do not sell out, and you can pick them up for cheaper if your LCS has a sale later on. Like for example, the Ultimate X-Men books that I read, right? Like I buy them because I wanted to support the Ultimate relaunch and Peach herself, but I've found that, those retail for $5 or whatever. I get them for $3.50 because I pre-order them. I can find them now on comic book websites like Midtown or Unknown, or even Things from Another World. I can find them for $2, $1.50 at that. So I'm saving, unless it's a variant cover, I kind of don't really jump on these number ones unless it's something I really truly do want to read. I might go back and retroactively pick up this one because it is really, really good. But yeah, that's sort of where I'm at now. I really like my LCS, so I'm taking more chances on number ones than I otherwise would. So I hear that, and I do that as well. It's just, again, I still want to give money to my LCS. It's just what money do I have to give to them? So I will go pick up whatever. If I don't get a book ahead of time, I'll go and try and grab it from the LCS. But if it's not there, I'll just wait because I got bills to pay. So long story short, for this issue, we get sort of three big beats, and the first one here is Rogue, Gambit, and Wolverine assemble to fight a giant dragon god who is hanging out in the ruins of a Mayan temple down in Mexico. After that, they get summoned for help by Cyclops to go visit a sick, dying kid in a hospital ward, because his wish, as you can kind of see, is to meet the X-Men, so they meet him. And then we sort of get a cleanup moment where the X-Men sort of take a breather, and they encounter this new group of mutants who we don't know who they are at all. They just sort of popped out of the trees, and they're asking the X-Men for help. So overall, I think this is a really good issue for a number of reasons. One, we get a lot of good character interactions, especially from Rogue. It's a Rogue-centric book. It's focusing on her life post-Krakoa, her life being married to Remy, her life trying to reestablish connections with mutants and her friends now that everybody's been spread out all over the globe. I really like this battle against a like Tenochtitlan dragon. I think it's a really unique premise setup. I also like the fact that apparently this glowing green that you're seeing here, it's the fact that the serpent has the other eye of Agamotto, like that Doctor Strange had. I don't know. I thought that was a cool little like, oh, world building makes everything feel like it's in the same universe. That's really cool. So like really good sequence here. I definitely recommend. Like, I'm not going to spoil it. Like, even though I might be talking about it, Andrew, I highly recommend you guys read this all for yourself. You get the dialogue, because that's where a lot of this comes from. Just how they talk to each other, how they interact. It's really, I really like their characterizations here. If you like how the X-Men sort of were in the 90s cartoon, that sort of dynamic, you know, Rogue being the more chipper one, with Gambit being a little more aloof but very much caring for her, and Logan being the like, I don't want to be here, but I want to be here, I just can't show you guys that I want to be here sort of like personality. That's all there. It's all really good. You get this when we get to this moment with the kid in the hospital, it works in the narrative, it works in sort of getting their stories going. We don't retread. I'm really glad that we don't retread the oh, if Rogue touches somebody, they die. I know you see her holding his hand here, but what follows after that is sad and tragic, and I'm glad it doesn't relate to all that. There's no retreading of beats here as much as, or let me rephrase that. There's as little retreading of beats here as you could possibly get out of this sort of Western comics line relaunch, right? Obviously, I've talked before how I hate the idea of like, oh, look, mutants are persecuted again. We got to run again. Oh, no, blah, blah, blah. Like, we've been here. Okay, I get it. And there's a little bit of retreading of that, but I can't really put that on Gale. I put that more on Brevoort and Marvel Editorial for saying this is what we're going to do. I thought that this was a really funny panel, and it's like, he's just like me for real, right? Like, Rogue sits down to talk to him, like, what do you say, Sugar? You got a smile for me? His first reaction is just, oh my God, you're so hot. Like, I thought that was really funny, a very, like, he's 12 years old. Of course that's a reaction he's going to do. Like, I loved it. Very good moment. Then, yeah, just, this ending bit is just set up exposition. It's a good emotional moment. Again, the character work is really on display here. And yeah, so overall, really good character work. Really, you don't get the sense that anybody is being character assassinated or sidelined or being changed for no reason. Everybody very much feels like that's the Rogue, you know, that's the Nightcrawler, you know, that's the Logan and the Remy that we know. And it's, but in the way that it's like, they're not retreading those stories. They're bringing those characters and giving them new experiences, new things to do. So, yes, eventually you'll get through the 10 stack and you'll read this issue, and it's very, like, really good. Let's see. Good to hear. I'll likely enjoy this issue. I knew I was rolling the dice with Gale, LOL. So, Gail Simone, yeah, I kind of consider Gale in the same way that I consider Mark Waid. Not to the same extremes in both recognition of her talent and her craziness, but Gale, to me, she can write very good comic book stories. She's very capable of it. There are one of my favorite runs of all time was her run on Secret Six for DC between like 2004 to 2008. Super solid team book, amazing character work and everything in there. I love that book, and she, like, I can't deny that Simone has talent, but as we've seen, I know we reviewed the Free Comic Book Day story she did for this year, where you have the super incel, super villain erasing all the women from Marvel history because reasons that they didn't even really flesh out. Like, so she's very much, we've seen her on Twitter, you know, being very much, what do you call it? A political partisan, defending some of the worst industry practices, like the QR code stuff that we'll talk about in just a second, because I got to get to that page. So when I always sort of, I give Simone a slight benefit of the doubt depending on the book she is writing. So when it comes to a good team book with like like, I think that's where Simone can excel. Secret Six, X-Men, that kind of stuff is where she is really good. It's when you let her sort of try to get overtly political, not just have a message. All stories have messages, right? But like a certain political narrative message, when she tries to do that, that's when her stuff goes off the rails. And yeah, so I'm not one of those people who goes, Gale, oh, I'm out of here. But I do understand the hesitance. And I am with you, Andrew. I'm very glad that this issue, at least, turned out really good. We talked the... Here, I'll give you a really good example of sort of the dichotomy of Gail Simone's writing. Because it is in... I have a very easy, simple, short example for us to look at in regards to that. But first, I need to find my man, Ivan! All right, there it is. So, if you guys remember, this is Marvel Zero. This was the collection they released last week or like 2 weeks ago, of the free comic book day stories that they released this year. One of the stories for this year's free comic book day was a lead into the X-Men reboot written by Gail Simone. And it's right here. It focuses on Jubilee. It is... It's really good. It sort of shows Jubilee also having like lost her spot. You know, she doesn't have Xavier's. She has no Krakoa. She doesn't know where her friends are. She goes out on her own, encounters a bunch of douchebags making trouble for a mutant, like being racist towards her. And, you know, she tries to help that, like subtly help the mutant from being, you know, harassed and all that stuff. In doing so, she sort of, you know, blasts them with water, annoys them, then goes out to where they were and activates her powers. And I love the fact that they're finally juicing up Jubilee. It's been like 30 years and they've never let her evolve past Sparks. Long-term Jubilee fans, or at least X-Men readers out there, might know that like there have been dozens of points over the last like 30 years where a writer, whether it's Claremont or like Nicesia, whoever it is, they try to go, okay, let's give Jubilee a power boost. They start setting it up. And then for whatever reason, whether it's editorial or an event starts or something, it just gets dropped to the wayside and Jubilee just never gets to be more than spark, spark, spark. So I'm glad that she's finally being able to use it as like hot plasma. Like she knows what she can do with her powers now. But yes, in the end, she cuts up their car and leaves them to deal with it. And yeah, that's the end of that little tale. So it's back to my point. The good bits about this story are genuinely like the character work with Jubilee, this villain's, I don't know, Dr. Ellis's coldness is really an interesting bent to her. It makes me like her as a villain. It makes me want to see what her actual plans are, even though we don't know them yet. So like Gale, again, really good character work, really on the ground work. It makes sense. However, then you get to, you know, her example of harassment of douchebags is very, very generic. You've got, you know, the frat boys in an SUV who double park across both the lanes and then, you know, just straight up start dropping racial slurs at waitresses while they're around. I don't doubt that stuff like this happens. It's just when you sort of run it all together, it becomes heavy-handed, right? Like maybe if they didn't park in the, you know, double park over the spaces, maybe if they didn't so clearly try to just run a regular person off the road before they got to this diner, just things like that make it feel a little too heavy-handed, right? Again, there are times in life where we hear stories where that happens, and I don't know about you guys, but a lot of times my reaction is like, if somebody wrote that, you wouldn't believe it. That's crazy. I can't believe it. And that's sort of what's happening here. Because it's written down, it just feels like she's trying too hard. However, but then, like, you know, I like this stuff with the underground mutant sign, you know, let me know if you need help, stuff like that. Gale is good with those character, the emotion, those, you know, fight dynamics. It gets a little heavy-handed at times when she tries to bring in real world analogies to what, like, problems or figures. So this to that end on her Uncanny X-Men book, let me pull it back up. It could go either way at this point. However, you guys know me, credit where credit is due. This first issue definitely won me over. It's a really fun issue. I think I also, David Marquez's art for me goes a long way. I think Marquez is easily one of the best artists working, not just for Marvel, but in the industry today. I cannot tell you a bad thing he's done, but like everything, his color, or like his, what do you call it? Proportions, his settings, his facial expressions. Like Rogue is adorable this entire time throughout the entire book. Like he does a great job. That Rogue and Gambit panel, right? Like it all just works really well. Marquez is a master of the pencil, and I just love seeing his work every time. This, the Rogue dashing here, this one right here that I'm about to get to, of Rogue punching, I love the dynamicism. There's the way he draws faces. You can see like Rogue, like in mid frustration, letting that punch go. It feels like she's actually making contact with something. So yeah, Marquez, you really can't do me wrong. And then you get like this really amazing Gambit piece right here. There's all the subtleties in his work, like the bent card or Gambit, like his finger, I don't know, just everything about his work is really good. I've liked him for a while. I'm glad he's on this book. I'm sad that, he's probably only going to be on for like 6 issues before they switch creative teams, but I will enjoy what we get for the time being. The layouts. Yes, thank you. That's what I was looking for, Andrew. Volume dealer. His name is David Marquez. He's really prominent. He's drawn a lot. He's drawn a lot of events. You'll notice him. He's really good. I really like him. And yeah, like look at that. This right here, this Rogue Gambit looks like it could be a variant cover on its own, or like a print. It's fantastic. Marquez kills it. In terms of the hidden page behind the QR code for this issue, it looks like we're setting up the Cyclops and Rogue to be sort of the new Wolverine and Cyclops dynamic, right? Like the schism within the X-Men could be interesting. I don't mind that dynamic. I just wonder sort of what it's going to be, or how they'll play it out. Again, I don't want character assassinations. I don't want anybody acting out of character. I just want Rogue and Cyclops being Rogue and Cyclops and sticking to their guns however they can. Now, while we're on the topic of Gail Simone and the QR code bonus page for this week, I want to bring up, I want to talk about this concept just for a minute, because, so for those who don't know, all of the relaunches, all the number ones in the From the Ashes reboot have QR codes at the very back of the book. And you're supposed to scan the QR codes and they take you to a page on the Marvel website. And that page has, it's supposed to be, or it's labeled as a bonus page. And a lot of the creators, Tom Brevoort, the editor for the X-Men lines, Gail Simone herself, they've come out against the people criticizing this move because obviously it's inconvenient. It's really weird for collectability, for readability. What happens when the servers shut down or they get moved in the future? What happens when a URL changes? Things like that make people wary. But like Tom Brevoort, Gail Simone, they're coming out and they're going, look, it's just supposed to, I don't know why you guys are complaining. It's just bonus material. It's just supposed to be an extra thing that lets you go, oh, this is sort of what we're seeing. Now, this page right here, I kind of get behind. This to me feels like a bonus page. It's just showing you, like, it's not teasing really anything. It's just a big splash of like things to come, right? That totally works for me. We also got a similar one in X-Force, right? Where, oh yeah, there it is. So like here's our QR code. The extra page is just Forge talking to the team, and they're sort of like, yep, we're X-Force now, let's do this. And then you get a mysterious character going like, ah yeah, and I'll get you. Like that to me is a bonus page. They're not showing really anything. It is a tease that they're being watched. None of this is pivotal to what's about to come next. But if you guys have been paying attention, like Phoenix #1, NYX #1, X-Men itself, like the core X-Men title, those QR code pages all had like actual important information, which was like, here are your new villains. Here is your setup for the book story. Here's everything that's coming. And so I really do not like this idea of having to use my phone to access a QR code, to access another page of the thing I already bought. It's just a hassle. It's inconvenient. I think it's weird when you do it for comic books, especially when you're hiding introductions and first appearances behind these QR pages. Because now it's like, okay, so for example, in Phoenix, they do I have that one sitting here? Yeah, I can pull up the Phoenix one really easily. At least I hope I can pull it up really easily. Oh, I didn't. It's not included in this one. Well, I can find it on Bounding. Bounding. Yeah, the QR code that takes you to a site that you tell to your parents. Yeah. Okay, where is the Phoenix page? Okay, yeah. So in the Phoenix book, the QR page in Phoenix introduces this completely new villain. This is the first appearance of this villain, and it's on a QR page in the back of Phoenix #1. So does her first appearance count as Phoenix #1, where the QR code was included? Does her first appearance matter as the next issue she actually shows up in? Does her first appearance even count anymore? Like, so many weird questions arise because of this weird decision that they say it's to make comic books more fun and hide spoilers. And I'm like, look, sometimes there are things you're just not going to be able to avoid, and you kind of just got to, like, put your head down and keep moving forward and try not to save your business at the expense of your customers, right? Because most business boils down to an issue of convenience. If you make something more convenient for somebody, they're more likely to use it, to engage, to continue supporting it, so on and so forth. If you make it even the slightest bit complicated, that's more reason for them to go, I don't want to do that. Like, what? Even if it is something as simple as scanning a QR code, right? It's just, I think it's a misfire from Marvel. I'm glad it's apparently only in the #1s for From the Ashes, but let's see if that's actually true or if that's just something they said to get everybody off their backs. Could be either one at this point, knowing Marvel. All right, check that out. Can't use the sip bumper because I'm going to do a gulp. All right, but that was Uncanny X-Men #1. Not a bad read. If you are unsure about Gail Simone's writing and all that sort of stuff, I would probably recommend waiting for the trade just to see how this pans out. Because, yeah, when it comes to... There are some writers where I can go, hey, take a ride with me. You're going to love this. And then there are some writers where I'm like, this started all right, but I know you. This could completely torpedo very, 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 very hard. And so, yeah, if you're wary... I'm not going to say that you should go run out and grab this issue, because I'm feeling paranoid over it, right? I'm like, that was a good issue of Uncanny X-Men. Where's the rug pull? Like, what's coming next? That's sort of where I sit at this point with that series. So good, really good Uncanny X-Men #1. Check it out if you're a fan of Marquez or a fan of Simone. I mean, there's probably like 5 of you out there, but you know what I mean. And yeah, not a solid outing. Big goal. Yeah. Oh my like real life friend group and I, Andrew, we reference that all the time. Big gulps, huh? Well, see ya. Like, love Dumb and Dumber forever. Yeah, and Andrew, X-Men #1 literally had the central antagonist intro locked behind the QR page, retarded. Right, like, it doesn't make any sense. It kind of goes antithetical to what comic books are. I am mostly not a fan of it because I know they'll collect it in the trade paperbacks eventually. Brevoort said that, but it's just hosting things online and sort of expecting them to always be alive always bugs me, because I mean, we just went over it tonight, right? For some reason, a bunch of Bounding articles got put into drafts instead of published. Who knows why that happened, whatever site error, but things like that happen. And oftentimes I guarantee you guys, after, and I'm going to be very, very generous here, after October of this year, nobody is going to be actively monitoring whether these extra QR pages are live. One of them is going to go down, and it's going to be a complete surprise to Marvel. Who knows how fast they'll scramble to get it back up. So, yeah, the rug pull is rug pull. Andrew, once we get our stream going, maybe that'll be, instead of the Mara Jade clip I have, that'll be our outro clip, will be the big gulps. The big gulps, huh? See ya. All right. So that is Uncanny. What else? What is the other one I wanted to talk about this week? This was, I don't, there's not really a lot to talk about here. This was just a moment I wanted to bring up because I thought it was kind of funny. Last week, we talked about Blood Hunt. If you guys remember, it wrapped up. I gave you a summary of what went down, and my basic takeaway was kind of lame, guys. Here's where we are. Dr. Doom, Sorcerer Supreme. Miles is a vampire. They're not going to know what to do with him. And, oh yeah, vampires have no weakness anymore. Well, we get to Avengers 17, written actually by the serviceable Jed MacKay, and that's literally what Carol kind of summarizes my feelings on it, right? Like, so for those who aren't looking, for who are just listening, so what she says is like, we owe this world a duty if we dare call ourselves Avengers, and thousands dead instead of billions is still a failure. Close enough is not enough. On top of that, Dr. Doom is the Sorcerer Supreme of Earth. Spider-Man, the kid one, is a vampire. And speaking of vampires, they can walk around in the sunlight now. Ah! And she's like freaks. I don't know. It was just, it's not that big of a thing. The rest of the issue was kind of nothing. It's really, again, it's Jed serviceable MacKay, but I liked the fact that even he had to kind of acknowledge that that event was sort of a bust. So fun little moment there. Overall, again, it's a Jed MacKay Avengers run. It's not being that great. Although I will admit, I'm interested at what they're apparently setting up. Hyperion's back. For those of you who don't remember, long story short, they did that Heroes Reborn event a couple years ago where an evil version of Phil Coulson used a demonic version of the Cosmic Cube to remake the world, and it was a world that was ruled, or the heroes weren't like the Avengers or anyone, it was the Squadron Supreme, and so he kind of like restored the evil versions of them, not the heroic ones. And so I guess the evil Hyperion lived, and he's learned that the world is all fake, and it's actually a pretty cool, I don't know, I like the setup. Maybe it's not pretty cool, it's kind of basic, but I think it's something about it works for me. It basically ends with, so Hyperion makes a broadcast to the entire world and says like, hey, I learned my world doesn't exist. Your world is fake too. By the time you get this message, I am already on a trajectory from like the outer limits of the solar system, and I'm picking up speed and I'm slamming into your planet. I'll see you in 5 minutes. So that's where you get right here. That's kind of cool. There's something I like about that setup of he's just, here comes this bullet that is being fired. I'm also a big Hyperion fan. I like the Squadron Supreme a lot. I like both versions of Hyperion, even though I know he is essentially just a clone of or a parody of Superman. I still like him. It was pretty cool. This setup for Hyperion is enough to make me at least check out how they stop him. But yeah, this overall run of Avengers is kind of boring. And for anybody who cares, Storm's an Avenger now. That's kind of neat, I guess, but I don't know. Everybody and their mother is an Avenger. Kamala Khan's an Avenger. Miles Morales is an Avenger. It doesn't matter anymore. So yeah, could be cool to see what happens with Hyperion. You also have that amazing cover coming for the next issue. But yeah, so I just wanted to point that out because I thought it was funny that Carol kind of had the exact same thoughts on Blood Hunt as I did. Now, with that out of the, and then next, what do you want to call it? Nugget, I get, or quick read. Everyone knows you never go full Kamala. You only go full Kamala if you are the MCU, because I think Iman Vellani is adorable. I love that young lady. I hope she has the best career. She makes me smile whenever she gives an interview. She's just the best. The volume dealer says, I'm trying to recall the series with Hyperion in it from the 2000s. That would be Supreme Power. That was when they actually crossed over, or another version of the Squadron Supreme crossed over with the Ultimate Universe. That was that whole shebang. Not a bad story, but be warned, it is completely drawn by Greg. I trace my artwork from Porn Faces Land, and it is very obnoxious. It's like one of the most obnoxious examples of him just reusing all of his faces and poses and everything. Talem says, so the local toilet is an Avenger too. Dude, at this point, like, that's sort of, I've raised this complaint on this show before, but like Justice League, Avengers, X-Men, these teams are supposed to be your like preeminent, if the world is ending, this is who shows up. And they're supposed to show up and instill you with confidence. You have your Superman, your Green Lantern, Captain America, Iron Man, Spider-Man, Wolverine if you have to. When you start adding everybody, and especially like children, to the ranks of these teams, it sort of really devalues, at least in my opinion, their entire purpose. Right? Like if we had the Olympics basketball team for America, and you know, it's got all of our huge players from over here. It's got your LeBrons, it's got your Dwight Howard, it's got all of those guys. Now we recognize, like, yeah, those are the best players, and they're gonna go kick ass because they need to represent US on the world stage. That's why we picked all of them, and everybody recognizes that, and everybody goes like, yes, we know that when they take the stage, we have a chance. Like, we're putting our best foot. And then all of a sudden, imagine if next year you just had like 3 random 16-year-olds who are good, and everybody's going, you know, the team is going like, hey, give them a shot. Come on, give them a shot. And you go, okay, I get that, but they've only really been playing ball for like 2 years, and they've only ever played in high school leagues. I don't know if they're really ready for an Olympic level competition and everything it entails. And if they still rolled forward with it, you'd kind of go like, okay, weird. If they won and they surpassed everything, great. You'd be like, wow, I was genuinely surprised. But more often than not, you're going to go, why did you guys do that? Why did you risk our gold medal on a gamble like that? And that's sort of what that's sort of what I feel towards devaluing the Avengers, right? Like putting Miles on the Avengers, putting Kamala on the Avengers, putting Naomi on the Justice League, like things like that. They don't really work for me. I'm fine if you have like I'm a fan of like when you have like your core hero, you have your Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, or your Iron Man, Scarlet Witch, Vision. Like you have your core group, and then they go, all right, we're bringing in somebody new, and they bring in like another veteran hero or something, right? That would be like the NBA or the basketball team getting another NBA player added to the roster. Fine with that. It's just I want to know that if you guys take the court, there's a good chance we're going to win. And I'm not going to go home, well, in the case of Avengers and Justice League, dead, right? So, all right, for our next, I guess, like, quick flip through, we are going to go to IBAAAAAAAN with Venom War. All right, so for those who have been reading Al Ewing's Venom series, his Carnage stuff, all of that, we are finally, I guess, getting the culmination of what it is. Overall, so in terms of writing, this book is not going to make a lot of sense if you have not read the previous Venom run. And I kind of was waiting to tell, I'm glad you were here for that, Andrew, because I've been waiting to tell you that all week. I know we've been talking about it. I know you have Venom War or Iban War in your 10 stack, but you going into this book, I would highly recommend you read at least the core Al Ewing Venom stuff, which I think is up to, it's like 40 issues. It's actually a real, like, it's a good run. It's a really good run. And I mean, the fact that it's at 40 issues in today's, it might even be at like 50 plus. The fact that it's at that high of a run in today's environment is like a testament to how well it's selling, how good it is. Wait, what? So what I'm saying is that like that, you wouldn't, I don't necessarily think you need to read 40 issues, but at least at least I'd probably say like the most recent like 5 or 10 issues maybe. I don't I read them all together, so they've all sort of like run together for me. But like there is a lot of here. Let me I can actually let me look this up, and I can tell you exactly where. Yeah, you would have to, if you wanted to read everything and get everything, you're gonna have to read about like 40 issues. But I think if you wanted to just get the Venom War setup, you only really need to read. Oh no, I mean, basically, I'm looking through the covers. Yeah, actually, you need to read. Yeah, honestly, for maximum experience, you'd probably have to read most of, if not all of, the Venom run just to get the cosmic weirdness of it. Because I will admit this, one of the big failings of this Venom run and Venom War and all this is they're letting Al Ewing go full Al Ewing, and that lets him sort of like Hickman. He goes a little too cosmic, a little too overboard. Some things get really unwieldy. There is this concept in the comics right now, or in the Venom series, which is the main thing you would have to read them for, called like the Garden, which is at the end of time. There is, the only last living thing is the symbiote, and like the hive of symbiotes, and their king. And it's Eddie, but it's also not Eddie, and there are other versions of Eddie that keep going through the garden at different times of his life and at different point, and it just gets like it gets all over itself. So that stuff you would need to, like, that is sort of the hot heavy basis of, or that's it informs a part of the story, but you, again, the more important stuff is like this entire volume, Venom Volume 5, dealt with Eddie and his son, which are the kind of key players in this event. So it is, to get to get everything out of Venom War, you'll need to read a bit, but the good news is that it's really, 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 really good. Like, I think, I know, like, you and I have our reservations when our favorite writers go full favorite writer, right? I think if you could, those issues do exist here in this run, but the times when he's not focusing on that overtly cosmic stuff is really, really good Venom comics. Oh yeah, there are trades already. I believe like 3 or 4 of them. Let's see. Yeah, four trade paperbacks collecting up to oh god. Oh, never mind. Okay, there are 2, but okay, there are 2, and then there are 2 issues of Venom that are collected in another non-Venom trade paperback. And that's the Dark Web trade paperback, the Chasm event for Ben, there, because it crossed over. You can get some Venom issues there if you really want to get into it. And you know what? I would say you can skip those issues. There is nothing that Venom had to do with Dark Web that made any sense. Dude, the symbiote regenerate the host body. I don't even know what the symbiote regeneration is at this point. Sometimes they can. I think Eddie can do it because he's part symbiote now, and then Dylan can do like regenerate his body because he's half symbiote, but I think like Cletus can't do it. Marvel plays very, very, very fast and loose with their symbiote rules. So first of all, we got it out of the way, but Iban he's absolutely nuts, kills the art in this issue. There's not one panel here that doesn't feel awesome to look at, like doesn't inspire you to want to draw yourself. So the big thing I wanted to point out about this issue, or rather the central meal of this issue, is to catch everybody up to speed. Essentially, the Venom symbiote detached from Eddie because Eddie went to be all cosmic, king in black. Eddie asked the Venom symbiote to watch his son. In doing so, they bonded. So Dylan was Venom for a little while. That's if you guys have seen the artwork of Venom with chains around his arm and like whipping that out, that's Dylan under control of Venom rather than Eddie. Recently, the symbiote revealed to Dylan just the extent of what he's done, like in partnership with Eddie and like in partnership with Annie and Lee Price and everybody, all the violence, all the killing, and it scared Dylan. And so because sensing Dylan's fear and everything, the symbiote ran away. And so we open the story with the symbiote, with Venom, not being attached to anybody. He's on his own. And what we get is this really, really cool recap of the Venom symbiote's history, from his origins being attached to Telkar, the Kree warrior, to his being picked up by Peter in Secret Wars back in the 80s, which I want to point this out. Just, I already love you, Ebon. I don't know how much more you want me to keep, professing it. But let me see. Oh no, what did I do? What I really liked about this page is that it's obviously a recap of Secret Wars when Spider-Man gets the page. But let's see. So, like, this is Ebon retelling that moment when Spider-Man gets his symbiote, and I love the fact that it is so quintessentially, like, here's that original panel. So here's Ebon's like take on it. It's like he used the same pink color explosion. He used the same like exasperated hand pose. He even uses some of the same dialogue, like I'll be an 8-Ball's uncle. Not bad, but different. Like there's something about when you do continuity like that, homages, throwbacks like that. I really, really liked it. Like, I wish, if it weren't for all the dialogue that was on this page, this shot of Spidey probably would have been tonight's stream buddy. Just the way he's posed, you can tell he's like sort of like stretching and like taking it in. I don't know. It's just everything about this is just mwah. But so really cool recap of that. Again, we get recaps of when Spidey wanted to get the symbiote off, and again, these are all actual shots from that DeMatteis 80s run, and I love it. You even get, and we're not done, because then we get the recap of Eddie praying and Venom coming to get him. Then Ebon even does a recreation of that very, very, very first like Venom panel. I just love this when you recreate, because that makes it like established history, right? I don't know. Oftentimes you'll see comics like they might flash back to this moment, and Eddie is in a completely different like pose, has a different energy to him, has different dialogue, and I go, okay, I get that that's the event, but we know that event already happened. So seeing things like this, like, yes, exactly, right, Andrew? Like this panel, and Ebon just kills it, and right, like the first fight of Venom and Peter, and then this incredible splash page of just all the different hosts that Venom has had over the years, from Annie to Flash to Lee Price to Mac to Dylan. Just, he is so good at drawing symbiotes. I mean, he's just good at drawing, but he has a special talent for symbiotes. But we then get into this, what I think is my favorite moment of this issue, and I know it's early and we haven't seen the rest of it, but probably already in the running for my favorite moment of this entire event. So having, scared off Dylan, having been left behind by Eddie, the symbiote runs away, and he goes and he just hides himself in Peter's closet. He takes the form of like Peter's black suit and just jumps into the closet and says, I'm going to hang out here. Like, nobody wants me. I could do no harm here. This is the only person who ever like he would never bond with me. And that means something to me. Like, because he's now afraid that he just destroys those he bonds with. And like, I destroy the ones I love. You can see that right there in that dialogue box. But because Peter never bonded with him, he never destroyed him. And he like has this affinity for him. So Peter, like, I love this. So the beginning opens with Eddie crashing a wrestling match in Madison Square Garden, saying, hey, I'm on TV, everybody, I want my symbiote. Bring Venom to me. And now Peter's watching TV, and he runs over, and he's like, oh, come on, I got to go out there and be Spider-Man. And he, there's something, just the casualness of like, damn it, Eddie, the one night I get to watch wrestling. And then, let's see, got my spare mask, got web shooters, web fluid, keys, costume. And he goes like, oh, my black costume. And then it comes alive. And I actually really like this. Like, Peter, don't freak out. Like, I like this bit of Venom. And then if anybody read the Free Comic Book Day Venom story, this is, it turns out that it was just pages taken from this book where Dylan is recapping sort of what he has recently been through to his future self, which is right there. Don't really know what's going on there. I'm kind of not interested in another Cable. I feel like we've done this before, and I just, right? Like, I like that little, like, Peter, don't freak out. Like, just don't, please. Yeah, exactly. Like, the symbiote knows what's going on, but he's aware of what the reaction might be. So, yeah, Eddie's wrestling. He's trying to get everybody to come get him, blah, 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 blah. You know, more setups of villains. You know, we got our anti-symbiote or whatever. But this is, you know, the continuation of what I'm trying to get to is that, like, so after the symbiote tells Peter not to freak out, he starts talking to Peter. They have this conversation, and you know, Peter is talking to him, and the symbiote is scared, but Peter's like, I don't know. You say that you're all bad, you're all awful, but clearly, like, you're helping him. Eddie's better off with you. Dylan's been better off with you, and yeah, like, see, like, you can help Eddie, help Dylan, but all I can do is hurt them. All I can ever do is destroy. And then Pete's like, it'd be nice if that were true, wouldn't it? And he goes into this, like, speech, like, this is Peter. You're not some mindless monster. You're not goo. If you ever were, you learned. So now you're stuck with the choice. Do good things, do bad things. Even doing nothing is a choice. And obviously it sucks, but that the price of living is choosing how to live. That's the only power any of us have. Like, this is Peter. This is the guy who wants to find the best in everybody, who really believes in humanity deep down, or even in humanity if we're looking at a symbiote, right? So I'm as you guys know, if you watch the show, we are as a culture, we are starving for good Peter characterizations. We're not getting it out of Zeb Wells' run. We know that. So just this really, yeah, exactly, Zero. Peter talking the fucking Clintar out of a depression funk. It's with just like the most straightforward, not like, this is telling it like it is. A lot of people like to go, oh, I tell it like it is, but they're just like insulting you. This is like, dude, yeah, life does suck, but you know what? We got to do what we got to do. Like, this is the kind of prep talk more people need to hear in their lives. But to my one thing I really wanted to bring up, and I've talked about this on Twitter before, and I know I've talked to you about this, Andrew, but back to my thing about Iban and symbiotes. I don't know what it is about the way he draws, like, the draped half goo, half fabric, half composed, half not, like, thing that he's talking to here. I don't know. It really sells the idea that this is a living piece of fabric that is constantly moving and dripping. It's so good. And then, yeah, Andrew, Pete giving the Clintar the classic power and responsibility speech. That's the last bit. And power comes with responsibility. My uncle taught me that, and we can't turn away from it. Like, with a smile, with a wink. Like, this is Peter. Like, this is my boy. This is who we love. And then I love this. We can't turn away from the choices we've made. Can we, pal? Like, I love that Peter recognizes that, yeah, the symbiote might have been bad, and it might have been hurtful for him, and it might have done bad things in recent memory with Eddie as his host. But overall, I have accidentally moved everything, and I've also turned my thing grayscale, and I don't need that right now. My monitor grayscale. Never thought I'd see Puppy Dog Venom. Right, like Puppy Dog. I've been thinking about this because in terms of symbiotes, they get a lot of different, you know, characterizations. Sometimes they're like bloodthirsty monsters. Sometimes they're overtly goofy children, like in the movies. Sometimes they're just lifeless, sentient things, like in the original Secret Wars depiction. And I've been kind of trying to figure out, what do I like out of my Venom? What form of symbiote do I like? And I think I've come to, I like wounded puppy dog like Venom, the symbiote who wants to help and wants to learn and is eager to, like, okay, let's do this, but maybe doesn't really understand everything that's going around. I kind of like, I would prefer, honestly, if the symbiote had never learned to talk or anything. I like it as sort of just a quiet thing that talks to you inside your mind. Like, I like that, and then that, you know, makes Eddie talk like, we are Venom. Like, I like that. Giving it its own voice kind of to me, but I think if we're gonna play with the hands we've been dealt, I like Puppy Dog Venom. I like Venom trying to just learn and live. um, let's see. Reeve, I'll get to those. I'll get to your question as soon as we're done with the issue. Don't worry. Yeah, Venom became more heroic because of interactions with Peter and Eddie and later Flash. Carnage is pure evil because it only ever bonds with Cletus, serial killer. Exactly. The symbiotes take, I mean, that was the original thing, right? They just amplify who you already are. That's why Peter was going out and, you know, being aggressive and saving the world while he was in his sleep, because that's, you know, he has anger under that surface, whether he wants to talk about it or not, and he's a superhero. So the symbiote just said, let's go be angry and let's go be a superhero. We're way past the point in history where the symbiote, at least the Venom one, needs to be evil. Completely agree there. I think like having the Carnage symbiote be evil is good. Having Venom be like the puppy learning symbiote is good. I'm getting a little burnt out on symbiotes. I feel like they introduce a new one every year and they just keep forgetting about them. I will admit, I do really, really, really like the Black Widow getting a symbiote. I think that's a really good turn for her character. It gives her something to do. It gives her an interesting power set. It makes her a more formidable player in the overall 616 when you're going up against people like Doom or Kang or whomever on a given day, right? So I like that, but I do think that Marvel has a little bit of a symbiote fever, if you will. Andrew, so Carnage needs a couch potato to calm down. Carnage would do so good if he just linked up with like get Carnage on a VTuber. I bet a VTuber would chill him out for a little bit, right? Andrew says 100% Carnage should always be a bad guy. I actually really like what they've done with Carnage in recent years, where they've turned him from just like hack and slash murder goo into like he's actively trying to become a god. He's like hopping around the multiverse. He's trying to eliminate himself of his weakness. He's trying to go beyond what a symbiote is. It's a little goofy, but I think that's a good turn for the character because you kind of ran your course with him being a serial killer. It's the vampire problem, right? In a world with all these superheroes, with all these powers, it's really hard to tell a story where the main threat's a vampire or the main threat is a serial killer, because Jean Grey, okay, that guy did it, right? Or you have Tempest from the X-Men go, let me rewind time. Oh yeah, she did it. She's right over there. Like, so it's all about sort of playing in the world and making things make sense within the world. So I think that it's a good turn for Carnage. Toxin is actually, they just brought him back for this event. He's right there, actually. He's attached to a kid now. He's fun. I actually am not against Toxin. I am actually kind of sad that Toxin went away for such a long time. He was kind of, for a long time, I thought he was going to be the actual heroic alternative to the symbiote. You had evil Carnage, you had anti-hero Venom, and then you had hero Toxin. And then they just went, Toxin, meh, Yeah, I know, Shinkai, a VTuber, depending on who, could be worse in another way. Maybe a chill surfer or a skater. Yeah, you're right. Like, as soon as I said VTuber, I was like, oh, they're going to get, like, super excited and start, like, freaking out on stream, and then we're all doomed. Zero asks, this reminds me, didn't they shove Spider-Gwen on a symbiote? Yeah, actually, which is, I brought it up last week because we talked about, the moment in last week's Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider where she gets, now, for those who don't know, she now has Miles Morales style electric blast powers. And I was complaining last week because I think it's stupid to keep giving all these spider people new powers because it just shows you're lazy. I think it's especially lazy to keep giving them just Dragon Ball Z shooty powers. C, I think it's a dumb move for Gwen particularly because her costume is a symbiote. And it's honestly got one of the like cooler symbiote designs like on the market. Here, I'm going to pull it up. Like her white suit is just her symbiote, but she's telling it reconfigure into my normal white suit. So, where, give me a good image. Give me a good picture. Otherwise, it's all going to look bad. I guess this is, this one works. Yeah, this works. All right. Go over here. Yeah, see, so this is, Gwen's got a symbiote right now. It's kind of sick. It has like its mouth is her hood. The tongue is like a Kamen Rider style scarf. I actually really, really like this design for Gwen. And I think it's a shame that A, they got rid of it for her regular white suit. And B, yeah, they gave her Dragon Ball Z powers instead of doing anything with it. They didn't do anything with like using that scarf as like a tongue or a whip or a spike. They didn't do anything. It's really sad. Yes, and I agree with you, Andrew. His original premise was super interesting, like being with the cop and everything. I actually I like that first Toxin miniseries. I think it's a good little self-contained story that leaves itself open for more. And I would have liked to have seen more of him before 2024. Right, exactly, Shinkai. Instead of Electric Blast with a symbiote, why not have the Venom make constructs or reconfigure herself like Plastic Man? Why not do anything like that? Like it's lazy writing, right? Like that is 100% what it is. It's just called give them more powers because they need more power for a situation. There's no, we talk about this. There's no strategy anymore. It's just, oh, Gwen's stronger than you now. She can win. Miles is stronger than you. She can win. Meanwhile, Peter is over here sitting like, oh, I have inorganic web shooters. Like it's really messed up what they keep doing to Peter. Yeah, looks a little like Spawn Gwen. Yep, borrowing powers from Miles, who borrowed them from Jessica, and then like amplifying them 100%. I even forgot Jessica had those blasts, right? Or like the Venom stings. That's like her whole thing. I can't believe I completely forgot about that. But I'm glad you brought that up. Also, just because I have no idea where else to drop this into the conversation. I have no idea when else to drop this into the conversation. But because we were on the subject of Black Widow and the symbiotes and stuff, and Spider-Woman specifically, there is a new miniseries out as part of Venom. It's like Black Widow Venomized, where at least the first issue is Natasha teaching the symbiote how to fight and like teaching it, she kind of like they go into her mind and she gives it like psychic training against like Hawkeye and Spider-Woman and Nick Fury and kind of just like teaches it to be an assassin. And in the book there is this absolutely like stunning page of, is it up? Do I have the right one up? I think I have it up, of Jessica. Of her training with the Widow symbiote. But I've been like obsessed with this spread. I think it is gorgeous. Something about it is so striking, and I just wanted to share it because it's my show and I can share whatever the hell I want. But then, all right, let's go back to Iban over here with Toxin. Oh, every single time a Miles fan brings up my unique powers, I love dropping that little factoid. I mean, anytime Miles fans bring up unique powers, I just go, dude, he's a Spider-Man. You can't talk originality. There's nothing there. But then, yeah, so basically the issue ends with Dylan coming to confront Eddie and, set up the rest of the event. But it ends with this absolutely awesome splash page of Peter and the symbiote reunited. I guess he's using the chains now like Dylan does. Really interested. I like when Peter is back with the symbiote. I like them getting back together. I don't like how wanton they've been with it in recent years. There was an ASM arc a couple years ago. I believe it might have been the Red Goblin arc back in ASM 800 actually, where he rebonded with the symbiote because he needed power, and Humberto Ramos gave it like a really, really terrible design. Let me refresh your memories. I mean, no, I love Julia Carpenter too. She's my Spider-Woman. I just really, really liked that splash page that was in the Black Widow book. Yeah. This was, I know in particular Andrew is a big fan of Humberto Ramos, but this was just a weird miss. He gave like the eyes. That's not stylistic. Like the eyes actively like go off like Wolverine's mask. The lines are all way spikier. The webs come back on. I don't know. I was like, this is really stupid. And it was just so casual with how he took the symbiote back. I needed to be if Peter's going to get back with the symbiote, it has to be like what we just looked at. It has to have gravitas. It has to have them talking. It has to have them like at wit's end, at least one of them. And yeah, like this run, when this happened, didn't really sell me on it. When this happened, I'm like, oh yeah, we are so back, baby. Yeah, Zero and Shinkai chain webbing would be so metal. Hell are those chains. Yeah, so I mentioned it at the beginning of the Venom discussion, but since Eddie gave the symbiote to Dylan, when Venom goes on to Dylan, which is Eddie Brock's son, who is right there, that youngin, when he goes on to Dylan, he takes on the chains. They're like an extra thing. He still has his webbing, but he uses the chains to like whip people and restrain people and stuff. I think it's really cool. I think we need more like chain type weapons in just general media. We've talked about this before. One of the coolest things about Chasm, maybe the only cool thing about Chasm, is that when he shoots his webs, it actually creates like a chain spike Kratos Blades of Chaos weapon for him to like fight and swing with. So yeah, I'm a fan of the chains. I think they could be really cool when well done. I hope I hope it sticks around. I really do think it's kind of a really cool, simple addition. Yeah, Andrew goes, I don't like the eyes popping out of the head. I've always hated the armpit webs. I love Ramos, but a bad design is a bad design. Yeah, I mean, there you go, folks. Like sometimes you have to just, even people who love someone will have to go, yeah, they screwed up on this one. Oh yeah, and I was right, Andrew. Look, that is ASM 800. So cool setup, lots of really great art out of our boy Iban. I'm super excited to see what we get more out of Venom War. I do sympathize for any of you out there who want to catch up and read Venom War, because you do have to go through 40 plus issues of Venom. They are really good, I can tell you that, but they do, if you're not a big fan of cosmic, esoteric weirdism sort of stuff, then you're not going to be a big fan of what's going on in those books. But that's kind of up my alley, so that was right there for me. Oh yeah, no, Andrew says, I pride myself on remaining intellectually honest. Oh, I know you do. I didn't think you were gonna like fanboy over the Ramos suit. I was just saying like, hey man, I know you love him, but you're gonna have to listen to me bitch for like 1 minute, because it was a very, very bad suit design. So pretty cool issue. I am excited because of this. I just realized, let me go back to my Twitter and we will check this out. I'm super excited because Iban Coelho, he published this in-process piece and then finished piece to his Twitter, which is Ben with the Spider Carnage symbiote, putting it on, if you guys remember the 90s animated Spider-Man cartoon. So I'm hoping we see some Ben. I'm hoping we see some good old-fashioned, non-chasmed, blue-hoodied Ben Reilly in this miniseries. Even if it is Spider Carnage, I don't care. I will take that over Chasm at this point. Like, I am just absolutely done with Chasm. All right. Now, the main book, or I guess main book, the main thing we're going to talk about tonight, we'll close it out here, is, as time keeps marching on, we have another issue of DC's Absolute Power. Now, if you guys remember, my rundown of the last book was amazing art by my man Dan Mora Comics. Very, very flimsy setup and premise, just with Amanda Waller trying to take everybody's superpowers, especially when it's like neutralizing the Spectre, who is literally the voice and power of God. So, and I wasn't a big fan of another like, oh, superheroes are so mean. And I also I can't buy the premise of fake, like deep fake videos and fake news and misleading headlines and stuff are enough to turn the DC world against superheroes. Because if you guys remember, the reason Amanda Waller sort of got the okay to unleash her Amazo Justice League was she sent out a bunch of videos of, like Nightwing killing people, the Flash killing people, Green Lantern crushing people to death with his ring, like with a fist. And that made everybody go, oh my God, save us. And I'm like, dude, that's not the DC world. The DC world loves their heroes. Nobody is going to think, nobody outside of like, what is their name? Like Intergang and Lex Luthor are going to think that Superman randomly just snapped out of nowhere and run with that as their first instinct. Like, it just isn't anything there. Yes, Shinkai, I do want to throw Chasm into a chasm. Like, again, I've said it. You guys know me. I'm a stickler for good writing. We talk about it all the time, but I would accept just Ben showing up in his Scarlet Spider outfit, no explanation, and just moving the hell on. That is how much of a, like, anti-chasm individual I consider myself to be. So, spilled a little there. So while last week, you know, I was lukewarm or lukewarm to slightly optimistic on the event, mostly for Dan Mora's art. Unfortunately, a lot of that has slipped away with this issue. So basically what we get in this issue are all the Justice League, or what is left of them, are trying to regroup. They're trying to, you know, get a battle plan in order to take down the Amazos. We learned that John Kent has been turned into a cyborg, and he is now the cyborg Superman for Amanda Waller. Under her control, he goes and he attacks the Fortress of Solitude, where all the heroes are hanging out. And in the process, attacks everybody, wrecks it all. You know, big, long, drop-down fight. Until eventually the heroes emerge victorious. Superman self-destructs the Fortress of Solitude. And even though, and then, you know, while it's about to self-destruct, Dreamer comes in and saves everybody, you know, blasts away the female Brainiac, whatever. I don't even remember what her name is. And and then that leads to, oh, all the heroes are gone. What do we do now? And Amanda Waller going, well, we still have our weapon. Don't worry, we'll find them. And then the final page is Ollie Queen going through all the stuff that Amanda Waller and the government have taken from the Hall of Justice since they seized it from the Justice League. And he finds Minuteman, Our Man's, like, gear, and goes, all right, like, time's up, whatever that means. So, yeah, if you couldn't tell from the fact that I kind of ran by this really, really fast, this issue, as Andrew describes, is kind of an absolute snooze fest. It's not even really exposition and setup. It really is just, this entire issue is dedicated to the action of the heroes being attacked by John and fluttering out into the wind. There's not even really exposition. There's not really any setup. It really is just that fight. And I don't know, I'm not against a good fight, but it just seems so empty. There was just something, it wasn't really that exciting. Maybe because we are so early in the narrative. It's like that was one of my big problems, was you already have John coming out and you've unleashed him in issue 2, but then in issue 2 you've also got Ollie here already going like, all right, time to, you know, blow my cover. And I'm like, we all knew that was coming. I know that. But did we need to blow that in issue 2? I feel like that should have been a setup we kind of held on for a bigger tension point later down, like maybe issue 4, something like that. It seems like they are really, really running through everything. And like there's just not a lot for me to write home here about in terms of narrative. It is very straightforward. I think if I had to shout out one thing from this narrative that I really, really liked, I think it would be here is so in this moment, when they're fighting in the Fortress of Solitude, who is it? Aquaman breaks open the bottle city of Kandor, right? Which we all know is the last remaining city from Krypton. It's got native Kryptonians flying around in it. Superman's just trying to figure out, how do I save you guys? But he busts it open, and then it's kind of hard to see, but all the mini Kryptonians then start like buzzing in and out and around Brainiac and like zapping him and breaking him with all their super strength and stuff. And I don't know, I thought that was a kind of a cool concept. Like I don't think I've seen like the bottle city used and having its inhabitants let out as basically super bees. I thought that was kind of neat. And then the other neat thing I liked was this, but it's not even really absolute power specific. I just like that Brainiac can like grab Cyborg Superman and sort of access his systems and use his eye as her own, like against his will. Something creepy and cool about that. That's really all I've got for this issue, guys. Just those two big compliments. Like this entire setup is boring. Everything we've gone through is boring. We kind of all already know that, Ollie's the traitor, everything. You can kind of almost see everything that's going to happen. And to that end, yeah, I agree with you, Andrew. I think this is a waste of Dan Mora's talent and Mark Waid's talent. I think Waid could write a way better story than this. This doesn't feel like a Waid story. There is one moment in this book that feels like a Waid moment, and it is this, and I will compliment this moment. During the when everybody's coming back together and making up their plan of attack, the remaining heroes are trying to figure out who's going to lead. Who do we listen to as our leader for this run? And everybody goes, Aquaman says, I should do it. Mr. Terrific says, I should do it. Batman says, I should do it. Wonder Woman says, I should do it. And, nobody can sort of get a handle on who should lead. And out of nowhere, Nightwing just takes the initiative and gives everybody a rallying call. He says, like, we're the Titans. This is what we're doing. We need your help. We're going into battle. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And then you get, Batman and Mr. Terrific going like, wow, and then that's my boy. Like, that feels like a Mark Waid moment. That feels like he knows what he's doing. And then the rest of it just feels weird. Like it just, I don't know. Oh, I also did like, hey, look, it's Airwave. You guys remember Airwave? I don't remember him having anything to do since, like, Infinite Crisis. It's crazy to see him. That was just neat. That's exactly what I feel, Andrew. This feels like a DC editorial story, and they said to Mark Waid, hey, can you write this? I genuinely feel like that's what it is. There are those moments, like I just showed, like this Nightwing moment, where Waid shines, and you can tell Waid is writing this. But then there are moments, like with all Amanda Waller's bullshit, with Dreamer self-sacrificing, and just like, I don't know, like, it doesn't feel like that. All feels like, okay, you have to hit these points, and then you can do whatever you want, Mark, but you have to hit these. And in doing that, it kneecaps the storytelling. It's almost too many cooks in the kitchen, if you will. But then, yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. Waid is a psychopath as a person, but he's so much better a superhero writer than this. That, again, between this issue and last issue, I'm sitting here stunned going, where is Mark Waid? This is Mark Waid? This is not Mark Waid. I don't know what you guys, what happened to him? And then, yeah, my final thoughts, I think, sadly, you guys have probably noticed that even though my boy Dan Mora has drawn this issue, I haven't had a lot to really write home about with his art. And I think he doesn't do a bad job. They're just, I think there's just nothing, I don't know. There was nothing in this issue that really stood out to me like, oh man, that is Dan Mora. Dan Mora Comics, give him what he wants. I think the highlights for me in terms of the art were this depiction of Jay's daughter down here. I don't know why. There's something about the angle, the fabric, all of it. Just something. She's adorable looking. She looks cool. She's ready to fight. I'm here for it. I really like that. I also liked, I had it up a second ago, this singular panel right here, because we have Dan Mora giving us an absolutely gorgeous Cassie Sandsmark, and then more of his peak Zatanna. So really liked this panel. Like this Cassie right here. This is the art that makes me go like, Dan Mora. That's the guy. And so it doesn't feel like it's present in the rest of the issue. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the setting. Maybe it's the fact that there's so much fighting going on that it's hard to tell. But yeah, that was sort of it's sort of a bummer that he doesn't have better art moments in this book. And then this next compliment is really weird, but it is what I've been focused on with Dan Mora's art in this issue. Blue Beetle's belt and Batman's belt. I don't know. I really like the way he draws, like, the gadgets being hooked on, like they're ready to go. I don't know. There's just something that really, really grips me about, like, that's a really cool depiction of both of their utility belts. So, yeah, unfortunately, that's really all I have to write home about with Ultimate Power #2. I do laugh at John being the new Cyborg Superman, because this, to me, feels, again, like another Miles Morales, another Jubilee with, we don't know what to do with this character. Give him new powers, make him, give him the gimmick of another character, do whatever, like retread old ground. That's what this feels like to me. Doesn't feel as, like, I'm a big Cyborg Superman fan. I thought I would have been in for this. It's just not doing anything for me. So, oh yeah, and then there's just like my biggest highlights are just the other heroes Dan draws in these panels. Like, you've got Damage, you've got Yara here, you've got Donna Troy running up, like leading up the back, you've got your Starfire, but they're not like the main panel focuses, you know what I mean? And because of that, it makes me like, ah, come on. You even, like, I was surprised to see, what's her name? Rai got an appearance from over in Vertigo. Ever since they collapsed her in, they didn't know what to do from Wildcats, and I was like, oh, she actually had something to do, like an actual role. She sliced up an Amazo. That's crazy. But yeah, all in all, this issue doesn't do anything for me. It kind of feels like we are really, really rushing through all of this, and that makes me feel like you're not confident in the story, or you know that all of this stuff is very, very temporary, and you just want to get to your next Rebirth, DCU, New 52, whatever publishing initiative. So I love you, Dan. I love your writing, Mark. You as a person are a little insane, but this, yeah, so far, Absolute Power is not working for me. Andrew said, or Volume Dealer says, too many cookie cutters. Yeah, I think that is what it is. Too many cookie cutter, just like standing around moments, not really doing anything, just sort of like, we're all here, we're all gathered, we're all standing, and it's like, all right, cool. But then, and then I think that speaks to why I like the action scenes so much with everybody in them, because they're doing stuff. Whoops, no, I didn't mean to close it, we were still talking about you. Andrew says, the panel layouts for the series so far aren't phoned in, but they aren't utilizing Mora's skills to its fullest. His heart probably isn't in it either. How are they squaring this against the fact that someone like Wally can't be cut off from the Speed Force? LOL. So to your first point, yes, the panel layouts are kind of boring. I really don't feel... I agree with your assessment that Dan's not really being utilized the best he could. To me, one of the, like, a gangbusters moment, no matter what event you're doing, no matter what the story is, should always be this. The new costume reveal, the alternate outfit, the we're suiting up, we're ready to go moment. This just feels so lackluster. This doesn't feel like they're suiting up. This feels like Superman was talking like, okay, we're going to have a friendly skirmish against another team. And Plastic Man goes, cool, what team? And he opens the door and they goes, them. And you look, and that's their like debut, like, this is the team. Not your, we're ready, you're raring to go. So yeah, I'm pretty disappointed. As far as panel layouts go, I really liked this layout of them, you know, the big screen and then the inlay of them looking at the bigger screen. I think that was a really smart way to do it rather than having them looking up. But again, you guys can tell, like, I'm stretching for things to compliment this issue about. There's just nothing here. Nothing here. And yes, Wally being cut off from the Speed Force, that just goes back to the fact that Waller's, whatever they gave Waller, it's just, for no pun intended, it's absolute power to do whatever she wants with superpowers. Whether it's fighting God, whether it's cutting off the Speed Force, whether it's making magic users forget, like, their memories, whatever it is. She is plot convenience to the character at this point. And honestly, as soon as we're done with this Waller obsession outside of DC, or out of DC, I think the better it can be for all of us. But with that, I think that is all we have for tonight. We are already, yes, so whatever Waller has can cut off a cosmic force and divine powers. That's what I mean. She is literally just, plot convenience the character, MacGuffin the character, whatever you need from me, the character, I am the character. So yeah, I think that's all we have mainly to talk about tonight. Going back to the question that I wanted to answer, but I wanted to give it its full due, I guess. But Reeve asked earlier, do I think Kingdom Hearts 4 will make an appearance at D23? The answer is no. I don't think it's going to make an appearance at D23, unfortunately, because one, I think if we'd have heard anything was coming about Kingdom Hearts, we would have heard something or a whisper at Summer Games Fest earlier this year, just anything. And two, Disney kind of treats Kingdom Hearts like a black sheep. They don't really like strutting them out on the main stage. So I think the longer they can put it off, the happier they're going to be. So I'm hopeful. I always want to see more Kingdom Hearts. You know me, I love Sora, I love the Heartless, I love all of it. I have no idea what is going on with that. We literally have gotten nothing since that teaser where it looked like maybe an AT-AT foot was on Endor's moon. Maybe they're doing Star Wars, maybe they're doing live action Disney stuff, who knows. But yeah, I wouldn't hold my breath out of Disney for that, especially because that's a video game, and I know that Disney has an exclusive streaming deal right now for this D23 with Epic to stream it in Fortnite. Again, whatever, stupid move. But with that, I don't know if like Square Enix would want to be shown on Fortnite or what agreements happen there. I don't know. But yeah, overall, if I had to bet, I'm saying probably no Kingdom Hearts news this year. Yeah, Shinkai, they gave Waller a really strong muffin. The mag muffin. Yeah. But all right, yeah, guys. I think with that we are a little over our normal time, only by 10 minutes. We're again, YouTube likes it when I'm at 2.5 hours, but I'm here to hang out with you guys. So I love spending what time I can here with you guys. I love spending Friday evenings with you. You know what? We host a stream, we hang out here, so hopefully you guys can have a good kickoff to your weekend, have some laughs, find some good stuff, cool stuff to read, watch, listen to, play, all of that fun stuff. I hope that mission was accomplished here tonight, or at the very least, I got you guys to at the very, 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 very least avoid absolute power. So before we get out of here, some quick housekeeping things to let you guys know. I am actually going to be out of town for the next 2 weeks. I will actually be going across the continent back to the homeland of the Philippines. So I will not be streaming. I will not be on the Bounding stream. I will not be on my own streams. I won't be on that gameplays for the next 2 weeks. I will still be writing. I will still be tweeting. I will still be available and probably on Discord bugging you all. But unfortunately, no streams for the time being. However, that does give me a good, I'm going to use that this opportunity to give the stream a refresh. We've been talking about it for the last couple weeks now. We need some new layouts, we need some new graphics, we need some new interactivity and all that sort of stuff, intros, I need to get a setup for multiple streamers so I can start having guests on. All that fun stuff I'll probably be handling in the next 2 weeks. So while you probably won't see me live, know that I am working hard behind the scenes. And then, yeah, the week I get back, we'll kick back into full motion. I'll be right back here, same Mav time, same Mav channel for another episode of The Good, the Mav, the Ugly. After 2-3 weeks, we're going to have a lot to talk about. So I hope you guys are getting ready. You will buckle up for that next episode. Unfortunately, with the massive amount of time sink that I've had this week, just with work and getting ready and all that. No last call for last minute news this week. I'm betting that as soon as Andrew's schedule clears up, my schedule will clear up. And I bet the week I bring back a last call for last minute news, Andrew's going to be like, oh yeah, I'm free this week. It's all going to be serendipitous. I know that's how it's going to work out. But yes, aside from that, no clip, but if you need a recommendation, go read Venom Volume 5 by Al Ewing. Go play Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. It's always the best. Go check out what I don't even know what I've watched recently. Ranma 1/2, Dan. A bunch of Netflix anime have leaked. I know I wanted to talk about that earlier, but unfortunately it got out of us. So if you're interested in seeing the full season of Ranma, it's out there floating around on the internet. That's up to you guys. Whatever you do this weekend, I hope you guys have fun. Take a breather, take a break. We spend the week, being bombarded by awful bullcrap. Make sure you remember that, there are positive things out there. There's fun to be had out there. Even if it's not coming down the pipe regularly in new products, you know what I mean? So with that, I am off to write some more Bounding stuff, do some more work, hang out, pack, all that fun stuff. I'm sure I'll bug a bunch of you on social media. Feel free to bug me too at Kabuto Rider Mav. And until next time, all. I hit the wrong button. I hit the last call button. There is no clip for last call. So let's try that again.
As the creator of Mara Jade,
Wait! I am not the creator of Mara Jade, and I want you to get out of this office right now.
I'm sorry, Zeb.
No way.
You brought
No
it on
way.
You brought it on yourself.
I don't want you here.
I'm so
Out.
sorry, George. I didn't think it would go like this.
Out.
Jen, I got your voucher.
Out! There.
I'm sorry about that. I'm so sorry. We'll have him burned and
I don't even know who that guy is.